So it's like
so it's the face first, and then the mouth comes later.
The mouth comes later, and there's no body. So
it looks
it's
like a steak that's been cooked well done.
No, God.
What is, everyone? Welcome to Nerd on the Podcast you didn't need but deserve, where all levels of nerd are welcome, even if you're part of the spirit realm.
Yeah, especially if you're part of the spirit realm.
Especially if you're part of the spirit realm. That's right.
Even if you just like to eat.
Or do you
Like
just
a lot.
like baths?
Non-stop.
I do like baths. I take baths like 2 or 3 times a week.
Like herbal baths?
Yes.
All
You look
types.
like you need them.
Epsom
Yeah.
salts, whatever it
Yeah, you
is.
do the whole thing with the salts and everything?
Yeah, I do that. I love it.
Worm salt.
Epsom salts.
Yeah.
Delicious.
I even do bubbles. I'm a child.
What are we talking?
Don't worry, I'm actually on the
about?
same
What does this mean?
boat.
What are we getting to?
We are talking about a movie that is very near and dear to my heart, Spirited Away, by Miyazaki film. But before we get into that, I'm Corey.
Ali.
Caitlin.
And I'm Tom.
And I'm Josh, and this episode is brought to you in part by our patrons over at Patreon. You just couldn't I want to say it so bad. I want to say it.
Join him.
We are so grateful to have you guys along for the
Absolutely.
ride. You guys allow us to do this podcast, everything that we're doing. We are growing all of the time, and it is
Tom's
because of
always
you
growing all
guys.
I'm growing all the time. All the time, baby. Especially my chins.
I
He
think
wasn't going to take it. I was.
That's fair.
And give it to him.
I wasn't going to say it.
this time it was not a sex joke. It was like a muscle joke.
Yeah.
I immediately went there though.
Yeah, no,
So,
I know.
Yeah.
It's because
You-
Tom was included.
Who's the bad one in this scenario?
99%
Ding.
of the rest of the time, it is a sex joke.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
I'm
waiting for
speechless
it.
at this point. I'm like, all right. Well,
If you are interested in supporting Nerd On, you can check out our Patreon, patreon.com/NerdOnTV. It has all the infos. There's so many goodies that you can get. Like my favorite is the Discord server.
Yeah.
What's really cool is like even today, our patrons were just having a conversation, just talking about Spider-Man and just going into the background of Spider-Man a little bit. And it was like, that is so cool. Like it's creating a community and we would love everybody to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So
Please
Discord, bonus episodes,
Discounts
I like-
on
I like-
merch.
discounts on merch.
I like so far we've done some questions and we've been able to answer them on our bonus
Yeah.
stuff.
That's been fun.
Yeah.
those have been cool.
So
It's all there.
it's all there over on the Patreon, and some good things are coming over there as well. But I think the housekeeping is aside,
Yes.
and we can continue the episode.
Begin
Well,
our journey.
I just want to say that since this is a contained piece of art, it has a beginning, it has an end. What does that mean, Tom?
that means we're allowed to
Guess
that
Grump!
I have to make a confession real quick. I made a bet with Josh that Corey, you were just gonna run right past it.
Yeah.
because you typically do.
Yeah.
You're like, it is reactions.
So
I'm like,
wait, did
nah,
I win?
You totally won.
I totally won. Yay!
Thank you for believing in me.
I believe in you, Corey.
Appreciate
So
it.
proud.
$10 sex toy. All right, and so
There
for
it is,
everyone
there it
that's
is.
new to the
That's
show,
his nickname for me,
$10 sex toy. Oh,
unfortunately.
that's delicious, Josh.
Wow.
Hey, a job's a job.
Anyways, if you're new to the show, Guess That Grump is a segment of our show that allows us to go from a rating of 1 to 5, and we, give our own ratings about it. Like, so if Josh, who tends to be a little less, familiar with anime and Japanese animations,
It's true.
he might rate it.
I
out of-
am an uncultured swine.
Yeah.
oh.
You need to become a
Cultured swine.
It's true.
Yes. He might rate
Wow.
it a little bit lower just
Wow.
because he may not understand the gravitas of something. But put it at a 4.5 out of 5. Whereas Caitlin tends to like the thing.
I like the
Everything.
and
Most things, yes.
she'll put it at like a 4.9.555555559
With also a 5 as a
5.
secondary score.
as a
Yeah.
secondary score. And so, we have to average
Just
that
in
out.
case.
Just in case.
What
even,
Tom's trying to say is,
even though Josh is only 0.5 away, he would still be the grump of the week.
yeah, doesn't matter how high you rate it. If you are the lowest one of the week, you are the grump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that.
true.
In fact, we've all been the grump once by all rating it almost 5, I think.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Tune
it
into that
happens.
episode. But yeah, so I always explain it. So I will go first, and I think that the grump is going to be fuck. I don't know.
Is that a new member of Nerd On? Fuck.
Yeah.
I think I missed that. Inductee.
I think it's gonna be Josh.
Fine. Fine, I'll take it.
I think it's gonna be
Okay,
Josh.
good.
You should be
Caitlin.
proud of it.
I think it's going to be Ali.
Wow.
I know.
Curious.
There's a lot of music swells. And it has a strong woman. Girl.
It's true. But there are a lot of themes he may not like.
There's not a lot of Art Deco. I don't know.
Wow.
Batman's not in it. Is that what you're trying to say?
Batman is clearly not in this movie. So
My
it's
one
clearly
gripe
a
is
one.
There
There's
was
no
Bruce
Batman.
Wayne.
Fair. Josh?
I'm sorry, Ollie.
Ooh.
No, it's fine.
You are
I
my
take
grump,
it
and it's
as-
not because you have become the C on the Scantron. It is just because I think you're probably going to be the grump on this.
It's fair.
But I could be wrong.
It's fair.
I could be wrong.
I don't take it. You don't have to apologize for it, is what I'm getting
I'm
at.
sorry.
I'm honored. That means you
Okay.
think I have a sophisticated brain.
Wow.
It's like,
has all
it's
these,
like someone's giving you like a nice dinner. It's like, I'm sorry.
That's
It's like,
one
no,
angle.
You don't have to.
of
You just gave
thinking
me a
of it.
sirloin.
But yeah.
I'm so sorry for this ribeye.
Yeah. Oh, no.
With the sauce?
Ollie?
That's a great question. Actually, I haven't really thought about it until this moment.
Sometimes that gets the
more
best answer.
Off the cuff,
It
baby.
does right off the cuff.
Improv.
Josh.
Josh. So 2 on Josh.
You know what?
It was instinct.
All right,
two
fine.
on Ali so far.
Yeah.
Fine.
Take
Mine's,
your long.
I guess Ollie, and I'm not sorry. Fuck you.
Jesus.
That's how you have
All
to be.
right.
Enjoy
How
your
you have to
steak.
be.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
So we have 3 on Ali, 2 on Josh, and then none for Corey, Tom, and Caitlin.
And so you know what? I've got a thought about this.
Okay.
That hoe over there.
We should just get into the spoilers for Guess That Grump and think of initial reactions because
Initial reaction.
I like how we have the spoilers right after Guess That Grump.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
immediately spoiled for you.
It's
Yeah.
the best part.
It's immediately answered.
I kind of
But
like it.
not
Or not.
always.
Or not always.
Not always.
Sometimes the person that gives
It's
it
a
the
secret.
lowest will be like, "Oh man, I fucking love this."
They're-
Having said that, since we're about to get into spoilers, if you want to guess at home, you could pause it now.
Do
Pause
it.
it.
Guess
Write
who
it
you
down.
think it's going to be. Let us know if you got it right.
Put
because
your
we,
rating down.
we
Write
will
it
give our
down.
answer at the end of the
Put it in
show.
a sealed
That's
envelope.
true.
Give us
Mail
a
it to
comment.
yourself.
Tell us like what you think of what it was, and you put your score.
Initial reactions. I can start
Go,
this
You start.
because this is my favorite of the Miyazaki films. This is the first one I saw as well.
Never forget your first.
I haven't seen a few of them, which some tentpole ones. Like I haven't seen Totoro.
Wait, what? No, so
I'm
wait,
sorry.
wait.
I'm sorry.
Wait,
what did
still?
you just say
I
out of
haven't
your mouth
still.
right now?
I haven't.
You're,
I've seen
who,
the rest.
Who are you married to?
I know it's her favorite. But even we were talking about
Wait.
it today.
Wow.
We were talking about my wife and I were talking about it today, and she's like, "No, you'll still like this one more." And I was like, "Okay, it's just more my style."
I haven't
think.
seen either.
Fair.
But I will. But I've seen Princess Mononoke, and I've seen Kiki's Delivery Service, which is Tom's favorite. I know. I've seen
girl
Ponyo. So I've seen a handful of them, enough to understand the style and know that out of the pool, that is my favorite film.
Wait, I'm sorry. You saw Mononoke or Howl's Moving Castle?
Both.
Okay.
I've seen a number of them. I just like the one that I haven't seen is Totoro for no special reason. It's just one of those ones that
It's like
you
you
don't
have
see-
all of your fingers, but he's missing
Well,
his
it's 'cause-
thumb.
it's 'cause he doesn't like-
He would
Yeah.
have a solid grasp, but he can't.
Yeah.
He doesn't like cat rabbit thingies.
I don't like to talk about losing fingers since I cut mine off.
Oh,
a few
right.
months back. It's growing back. It's doing fine. But this movie to me was insanely enchanting. Like from start to finish, it was one of those films that even from the opening scene in the car with her parents, I was like, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like
Wow.
the art style
Wow.
is
Wow,
gorgeous.
that's soon.
And it's like
amazing.
so calming. Like it's
Hand drawn, baby.
yeah, like something
Fucking
about
hand-drawn.
his art, the way the clothes move and the way the voice casting and everything was wonderful, and the stories are so bizarre but like not scary. Like there's a few shows out there like growing up that I watched like this that were like get so bizarre but also very frightening. But
Goosebumps?
something about this,
Terrifying.
even though they're dealing with the spirits and undead and things eating each other, I never felt like super scared.
Yeah.
Like it felt like an entire civilization that
Shintoism.
had what's that?
Shinto.
What do you mean?
So Hayao Miyazaki's like view on life in the world is
Yeah.
highly influenced by Shinto-Buddhism.
Okay.
And Japanese Shinto-Buddhism, not to be mistaken from like Thai Buddhism,
Right.
which is myself, but like they're much more like, yo, spirits and everything, yo, we got to treat everything like their treasure because it might have life.
Oh right,
And
right.
so
right.
everything has life in it, so you treat everything with respect.
Yeah.
And that's
That comes across
when
really
you
well.
realize like, oh, that's everything he does.
And I really loved Sen or
Chihiro.
Chihiro.
Call her by her real name, not her
I know.
slave name.
I know. I'm sorry.
Jesus.
That's why I said or. But yeah, I think she's a really great hero. And I think that she they wrote her in a way that really relates to the audience of like she has her moments where she's not always strong, but she still is determined and wants to figure out what's going on and save her parents and, you know, get back to everything. But she has a big
She's
heart.
a child.
Yeah, and she cares. She cares about
No,
others.
she's better than.
Like,
Well, no, she has
yeah.
the on that bravery. It's a childlike bravery. She's like, well, I'm gonna go do this.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But like she also puts others before herself. Like, yeah, she wants to save her parents, but like if she sees someone who needs help in that moment, who maybe even greater help than yeah, like she'll do it.
That's exactly how
That
she
was
sounds.
kind of yeah.
even the
uncanny a little bit.
scary no face. She's like, kind
I
of
love
after
No-Face.
that time, like his
He's more
scary
just-
moment.
Well, even she
she's, like,
understood, like
helping him.
He needs to get out of there. It's driving him mad, kind of thing. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm rambling on, but I love this
Stop
film.
rambling, Corey.
I've watched it
He's more just like
so many times.
"Zen."
So yeah,
Ugh.
For me, I think I watched the first one. I was like 15 or something, like really long time ago.
like 40 years ago.
And I haven't. Yeah, whenever. Like when did this come out? 2001.
2001.
So that makes sense. A little bit older, like towards the end of high school, maybe college. I can't remember, but I remember really enjoying it. I'm also the only other one I've seen is Princess Mononoke. Sorry,
Wow.
that's a
I
good
don't
one
have
too. No, it's a good one. I
Yeah.
like
no,
that
I'm
one too.
like to me, it's kind of like this.
That
It's
was
like,
the second one I
oh
saw.
man, I've only
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
like
yeah.
this amazing, a beautiful color of the rainbow. It's like, but there's so many more colors.
I believe it.
That was my
believe
that was
it.
my second
It's-
step in the Miyazaki journey. Was
Right,
Mononoke.
exactly.
Interesting.
Interesting. And I hadn't watched it until recently for this show, and I forgot how like you were saying about the animation, like right from the beginning in the car with everything tumbling around, and just the level of detail was phenomenal, and it's just a fun watch.
Mhm.
It's just the pure imagination that's just like thrown onto this like canvas of a movie is just kind of mind blowing a little bit. But
Yeah.
like every opportunity that he could, there's like something creative and something imaginative
Oh yeah,
like thrown in.
absolutely.
Yeah. It
So-
kind of reminded me of kind of almost a never-ending story kind of like
Yeah,
trip. Like
That's interesting.
But see, okay, so there's the example of like that fine line of like Neverending Story terrified me as a child.
Cloud Dragon
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah,
Well, it kind of in a weird way, it kind of reminded me of like an Alice in Wonderland type story,
yeah.
where it's
Yeah.
like
Which
just
it's
things are
highly-
just twisted and like
Yeah.
like is it kind of
It's very much compared to that and
Yeah.
like Wizard of Oz.
yeah
Mhm.
yeah that I could see that too. But yeah, just kind of like surreal and just more about it, like this one person that
Yeah.
kind of like a coming of age story kind of things. I like it.
Nice.
Joshy
Nice.
Josh.
He hated it.
This
I picked
is
right.
the worst. No, I'm just kidding.
We were about to throw down.
The last.
But that's fine. Go ahead.
This is the worst, best thing that I've ever. No, I remember seeing it probably back in like 2005, 2006. It was
When you were
given
30?
to me as like a you have to watch this.
Oh.
it's about the same time I watched it.
Wow. Okay.
You have to watch this, and they gave me like a stack. Is it Ghibli or Ghibli?
I call it Ghibli,
Ghibli.
but the Disney.
I've heard both.
The Disney featurettes will call it Ghibli. I'm
Yeah.
like,
That's why I'm confused
right.
because I've heard
That's
both,
not
and I'm like,
right,
what's
bro.
proper? Just
Let us know.
A friend, let us know.
At us.
Here, I can look it up.
So they gave me a stack of the movies that had come out at that time, or that had been out by that time. I don't remember what they were, but I remember this is one of them, and I loved it. I will say that I for those at home that are initiated and those that are not initiated, I am what they call an uncultured swine. And so when it comes to anime, I'm not very
That's like
You're not well versed in
I'm
it.
not
Also
well versed in it.
perfect to be for this movie too.
See, I think that there is this weird camp that occurs that is between anime movies and anime TV shows.
And
So
so
far, I have loved every single anime movie that I have watched, and anime TV shows I have been on the fence about.
and so
Ish, like they have kind of like a
Mhm.
ish to me.
So it is pronounced Ghibli,
oh, fuck
Okay.
no. Oh, fuck no.
but a number of people in Japan say Ghibli as well, and no one is corrected.
Cool.
So
Represent.
it's technically both.
Okay.
Okay.
It's Ration Ross.
That's probably why you've heard it so many different ways.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, just
Nobody
say
can be
it.
like,
just
"Hey,
say
everybody,
it. It's fine.
This is what it is.
Yeah.
But no, I remember watching it and really enjoying everything about it. And I really enjoyed watching it again because I do remember liking it, but still being confused.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, I'm still confused, but I
I mean,
to talk about that a little bit, and Kaylin, you back me up on this. Like, when I was a kid, though, when I was growing up watching, this Japanese animation, like to me, movies were mangas, and then shows were animes, and they weren't like TV shows or movies. It's like this is a manga, this is an anime, and anime was like something more serial, and they would have, as we now know, as we're adults. Me entering my 30s, y'all,
you
closer
speak
to
for yourself. I'm not an adult.
Movies have higher budgets.
Yeah.
So they're way different based on conception.
Mhm.
And then with Shonen Jump specifically, that's more popular in the West here.
Yeah.
They're typically like written as they're animated. Sometimes they'll have hiatuses, so it's like the author will write like
Well, I mean, that's
60
one
issues.
thing that I really loved about this, and that's something that I'm more of I do like to be prepared, but I'm also like let's go with the flow. And it was cool to read that he doesn't really have a script going
the
in.
storyboard,
He kind of
yeah.
lets the story
Happen.
write itself.
And they start
he-
making the
and-
movie as he's still
and he-
storyboarding and
as
Yeah.
he
figuring it
quotes, he follows.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's kind of like think of it's like comparing The Incredibles to Jimmy, like not even Jimmy Neutron, that was started as a movie. To like Courage the Cowardly Dog. Like those
Okay.
are just two separate things.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like Incredibles is meant to be a movie. It's not
Yeah.
meant to be a show.
and the attention to detail is totally different. Like
Oh, yeah.
having like worked in the anime
Mhm.
industry a little bit, the budgets and like amount of time that is given to things,
Yeah.
depending on the project, matters differently.
Yeah.
And so you've probably only seen animated movies that have like more budget and the pressure is on a lot more to be specific.
Okay.
And there are probably more eyes on it.
Okay.
Like some anime series will have like one adapter,
Mm-hmm.
one translator. Like movies have teams.
Yeah.
Like
They'll have
multiple
It's like
different.
when
They'll
we
have
talked
different
to
animation houses.
Jeff.
Yeah.
And he talked about it. It was like him and one other person would rewrite all the scripts.
Shout out to Jeff,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was it.
Nimoy,
Yeah.
Tentomon.
It was up to them to translate it all.
Yes.
And how they wanted to tell the story instead of a team of people.
Exactly.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So a lot-
and they directed it too.
A,
So
a
it was
lot,
like
yeah, a lot more nuance can come through
Yeah.
with movies because there's just so many people involved.
So don't think that you're outside the camp. Think, you know what? That's what most people are like. They tend to like movies more than they like shows.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
in America too.
mhm.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
But shout out to the TV shows.
that is my initial reaction.
Kaylin,
All right. When did I see this? It was a while
It was
ago.
probably not
And
before 2001.
It probably not. Most likely. It was definitely one of those movies that I watched, and the first time I was immediately in love with it, and I didn't fully understand why. And then I watched it again and again, and found new ways to love it for different reasons than than the creator's initial intent. Because like Miyazaki made this specifically for like because there weren't movies for 10-year-old girls.
mm-hmm.
And
Other than little princess movies.
right, other than Little Princess or like some kind of romance thing. So we wanted like a,
Coming of age.
a coming of age for like 10-year-olds specifically in that age range.
Yeah.
And while that definitely comes through, there's so many obstacles that like she faces in this and other people face in it too, like No Face and Granny and whatnot, that you
Yababa.
can kind of insert your own life into what
Oh,
you're
yeah.
seeing. And because it's so crazy to look at, like you can make up, your brain can go in every different direction with like story of why and how and intent and
So I can put my own personal acid trip.
exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Own personal acid trip. Yes.
Yeah.
Precisely. So I've always loved it, and I feel like every time I watch it I love it more.
How do you feel that knowing that Hayao Miyazaki had to cut a crap ton out or else it was going to go over 3 hours?
Made me really sad because I wanted
Because you think about it,
all
like
that
all the stuff, like
extra-
there's so much more. It's like there was so much more.
I know. I mean
It's already 2 hours for those of you
Yeah.
who don't know.
Yeah.
it's long, but I wouldn't be upset.
It doesn't
if it was
feel
longer.
long. No,
It
it's not one
doesn't
of the
feel long
movies
at
that feels
all.
long.
Yeah.
In
but-
some ways, it feels short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you said, it's made for 10-year-olds, but here I am, a 29-year-old watching it for like the 50th time, still tearing up and crying.
Going,
at
Of
first.
course.
Yay!
Being like, of course he's a dragon.
Dragon. Eat your heart out,
Coolest
Daenerys.
looking dragon I've ever seen.
It's a dog dragon, that's why.
That white,
don't know.
no, the white, just mean the white and teal is just such a good
Oh, I thought
design.
you were gonna say the old man one, since it was like
No,
an old man.
no.
That's like your thing.
Haku.
Okay.
The Kamaji?
Because old
Oh,
white
No,
man.
thank you.
the
his
other water
thing.
spirit. That was like a
Oh,
giant
okay.
dragon with an old
the
man
water
face.
dragon.
Yeah, the water dragon. Yeah. Okay. Well,
I appreciate that though.
of course.
Looking out. He wasn't
Yeah.
chill.
He wasn't chill enough. I'm sorry. You're
He only
right.
likes
He
to
wasn't
quote an
chill.
old white man. He likes him chill or crazy.
Yeah.
That's yeah. And this
So-
was not far enough on either end
No.
of the spectrum. But
It's just a river.
For me, shout out to my sister Tammy, my older sister Tammy. When we were like, I was probably in elementary and she was in like middle school by this point, but we started getting animes at an early age. And we would always get our friend who would like, here's this anime to go watch. Here's this anime to go watch. And it was the first time I ever had to like,
You had a dealer.
yeah. Like reading subtitles and then listening to Japanese language was very easy for me as a kid.
Mhm.
Like I hated it at first. I'm like, I can't keep up. But then all of a sudden now I hear that from adults. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, learn how to read fast.
wow, wow, wow.
You have to drive and read. But
Yeah.
so like watching this as a kid, I first very much didn't understand shit. Like all of the messages and all the things that they're putting on the film, like they say this is geared towards 10-year-olds, but it's not. I mean, it is.
It is and it isn't.
But like, goddamn, there's
Yeah.
so
It's
the
like-
things
it's
for
like-
the things for the 30-year-olds and the adults to get from it are like just as heavy.
I compare it to at a really like poor contrast to
Fundamental
Rugrats.
level?
No, Rugrats. So like the thing about Rugrats is it became one of the most popular shows on Nickelodeon at its time because it had stories for kids in it, but there was a lot of hidden adult humor and storylines with the adults that made it so that the adults would want to turn it on and watch with their kids as well. So it's kind of the same thing. Like what I think he's done here is yes, he's made a story for 10-year-olds, but like the parents can go and enjoy it and want to buy it and like tell this story for all ages, really. And
Yeah.
pass it
Yeah.
on to the next kids and stuff.
I mean, there's a reason why it's people talk about it. There's a reason
Yeah.
why like when you look up, Criterion Collection, blah blah blah, it's like there.
Yeah.
And I hate to sully the words and dialogues of Nerd On, but I am going to quote a conversation that happened on the internet that I think if you were in the internet age and you were in the anime world, you kind of like heard about it when Kanye West, Yeezy,
Wow.
said, "Ain't no way Spirit Away is better than Akira." And I was like, those are two very different things. But the thing is, like, those are probably the most like
More
revolutionary,
like Kanye Whack.
like anime movies of all time.
Can't stand him as a person.
This is before he went
It's like
crazy.
LeBron
This is
James.
before he went crazy though. I was like, you know what? I like the fact that he's wanting to create this dialogue. But like, that's the thing. Like, Spirit Away became
Wanting to
this.
create a fight. It's not a dialogue. There's a way to create a dialogue.
Everything
Yeah.
we say is about a
That's
fight.
a
Everything's
fight.
fighting words.
No, it's not. As we learned today from Trevor Noah. No, sir.
But no, I when I watched this movie, I enjoyed everything, and that's something that I still miss as an adult. Looking back at my childhood, hand drawn animation,
Yes.
and I hate to like throw Disney under the bus, but they have completely just adopted the Pixar style,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and just were like, this is Disney animation. I was like, I get you're animating, and I get like kids like this, and it looks like newer technology,
And they
but
can
it's
pump
like
it out quicker.
there's a skill level and a craftsmanship that is lost now because people don't have patience to do
Well, it's
these
like
kind of
stop
things.
animation.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I don't care if it's actual with paper or pencil, but like the fact that you're using your hand to make something that looks hand drawn, like, it's totally okay. Like, there's a richness that's lost. And I follow certain like animators on Instagram now that like will take modern art stuff like April O'Neil and make them look like Ghibli style. And I'm just like, that's fucking amazing. And I mean, like, if you look at the image and all this stuff, like the main girl Chihiro is like really plain looking, but it's like these are ways so that we could put our own identities onto these people.
Yeah.
But then like everyone's just doing the fucking DreamWorks eyebrow bullshit, and you're like, can you fucking stop? Like, I get it. So I mean, I love this movie. It's not my favorite Hayao Miyazaki film, but it's I think one of the most important ones. So
Very good. That was well
Dang.
done.
Yeah.
We can do a really brief synopsis since
Brief
I think we all had
synopsizes.
really long stories that were
Yeah.
about this, which I
There's-
really like.
There's
Not that a bad
only
thing.
more on the way.
But that was
so.
really nice. So I think we can all kind of hop into this. It starts out with Chihiro in the back of the car with her parents. They're moving to a new town, and she's upset and scared. They get lost and they find themselves at an abandoned amusement park. And they start wandering around and they smell some delicious food that her parents start gobbling up like gluttons.
That she doesn't want them to.
And she's like, stop, we shouldn't be here. Something's
She
wrong.
doesn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah. And she wanders off as they're eating. And she's approached by a kid named Haku who runs and says, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be here. You got to get out of here. They're turning the lights on. And so she runs back to her parents to get them out of there. And they are pigs, literal pigs, turned into pigs.
Transformed.
So she freaks out, runs away. Haku finds her and helps her to get onto the other side of the bridge before she fades away completely into the spirit world. Tells her, she needs to go see the Boiler Man, get a job, and that he'll help her get her parents back. So she does that.
Spider Robotnik.
Spider Robotnik, as I call him, with
I never
his
thought about it.
which, as my wife pointed out to me because I haven't seen it, looks like dust bunnies, but they are from Totoro. Apparently.
Yeah, soot sprites.
But they're the soot sprites, and they're helping him pour coal into the boilers for the baths. And he tells her, after a few times of her asking, that she needs to see Yababa to get a job.
You're Baba.
You're Baba. In fact, Megara,
No, I'm Baba.
Megara, or
Lou.
what?
Lou.
Yeah, comes in and he says, this is my granddaughter.
I
Get
thought
her
it
a
was
job.
Lynn.
It is Lynn.
Lynn.
Get her a job.
Lynn Lou.
So she takes her up
No.
to see Yubaba, who apparently, as we find out through the dialogue, has made a deal that if anyone asks for a job, she has to give it to him. While waking the baby, she gives her a job as one of the people who's there to clean the bathhouse, because she runs this bathhouse that the spirits need to come refresh after walking the earthly realm. And she's treated like a peasant because the spirits hate humans.
Faces
'Cause they
discrimination.
stanky.
Stank. They
See
stink,
that?
they stink, they stink.
Americans, discrimination in kids' movies?
So she gets this job and hilarity ensues as she learns about the spirit world.
And growth ensues.
Yes, she saves a spirit
Personal
garden.
growth.
Drama ensues.
She learns that Yababa has a twin sister.
Zen Baba.
Not Zinibaba. What is it? It's so it does start with a Z. I don't remember what it is. right now.
Zeniva?
Zeniva. Thank you.
Pronunciation.
Throughout all of this,
You're right.
she has been followed around by a lonely spirit who she locked eyes with on the bridge, named, as we know now, No Face, and she lets him in.
Oh, guys, from
And he wants to become friends with her and starts taking on all of the greedy traits of all the people around him in order to do so because he thinks, oh, she's surrounded by these people.
Because she's a greedy girl.
No. I think I read somewhere that it was because he is attracted to her sincerity.
Okay.
And she's the first person to ever talk to him. So he wants to be friends, but he thinks that she's there surrounded by all these people because she wants to. So he starts taking on other traits, and they're all very
Well,
not great people.
Yeah.
I mean, throughout the entire film, we start seeing like there's a lot of themes of like environmentalism, conservatism, and all that stuff. And like No Face is pretty much another example of like the last scene before River Spirit.
Yeah.
Like he's influenced based on the environment that he's around.
Yeah.
And it serves as a point of view that like she then makes a friend out of something that people feared.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you
Being
find
peace of
out
spirits.
that Haku has been running these missions for Yababa, and that he comes back from one of the missions and he's really hurt. Like
He's
on the
attacked
brink of
by
death.
Shikigami.
He's got 1,000 paper cuts.
Yeah. And
That's a real
she decides to give him a part of this dumpling that the river spirit gave him. That is, I learned through some
It's
research
a
that
dumpling. Wait, it was a dumpling?
it's a dumpling that was used in Japan to induce vomiting in people who had swallowed poison and things like that.
Oh.
Makes sense.
So the way I see it is that she removed poison from the river spirit, so he gave her something to do the same if she ever needs it.
Right.
So she gives half of it to Haku, and he spits out the golden seal from Zeniba. Thank you.
Zimbabwe.
Zimbabwe. But before he
Zimbabwe.
can come to,
But she
and say
also
that he's
steps on a
okay-
slug.
Yep. Before he can come to, she steps on the slug that was possibly making him sick because he throws up this like black tar. She goes off to see if she can find the witch that did this to him
Apologize for him.
and apologize. And she takes the baby who is now a
Bo.
hamster, and the little crow who is now a fly.
Little gnat. Little gnat
and
bird.
No Face on this train, this spirit train,
Beautiful train.
out into
An
the swamps.
adventure.
Yeah. One of me and Tom's favorite parts happen. This
Spoilers.
wonderful train ride. I said one of. And they arrive there to see her twin sister, who's actually really nice. In
Now she's like
contrast.
motherly.
Yeah. In contrast to Yubaba, who's this evil, greedy crone of the bathhouse. and she's having trouble remembering her name and her friends and why she's there. And so,
She's super nice and lovely now because she gets the seal back.
yeah,
Because she knows that the reason why the curse was broken is because of Sen, her name now,
Yeah.
her love for Haku.
yeah,
And that's the only way to break the seal. It's not with the dumpling.
right. And the little slug was not her spell. That was actually something that Yababa made.
Yamama.
Yamama
No.
made Haku swallow so that she could control him.
Mhm.
So with love, she had basically freed him. So he comes.
Stop.
He actually comes and finds her there. No Face ends up staying and being her apprentice, spinning silk because he's no longer lonely. And as they're flying back, they realize to go get her parents transformed out of pigs. She realizes why he was so familiar to her the whole time and why he knew her since she was little. And she had fallen into a river when she was young, and he had swept her to safety. He was the river that swept her to safety. And
He was spirit.
with that, the spell is broken, and he turns from a dragon back into a spirit again. Yeah. So they get there, they get back. The baby turns back into its baby self from the hamster, and now is like, "This is my friend, Sen. I don't want you to make her cry, Mom." And the mom's like, "All right, we got one more test, and you can have your parents back.
Don't make me flex on you, Mom.
Tell me which one of these pigs is your parents, and you guys are free to go." And she takes a look at them, and she says, "There must be something wrong, because none of these are my parents, and the spell is broken." Her parents are
Everyone's happy as shit.
turned back into human and sent back to the human side of the river.
Of the gate, yeah.
And yeah, they go on their way. Haku and her have a moment where he's like, "You must go. Don't look back until you get back there." And Tom explained to me one little thing. I'll let you go ahead and
so
tell.
sad today.
It is sad because it
My
ends.
God.
So the American version of the film ends with her getting back in the car with her parents, and they don't remember anything.
Of
And
course.
they get back in the car, and they're like, "Oh, let's go see. It's not going to be too bad. It's not too scary moving." And she says, "I think I can handle it."
Yeah.
And
And
they
she
drive
looks back.
off. Yeah.
So Haku says,
Yeah, and she looks back and says, "I
she
think I
looks
can
back,
handle
I
it.
think I
Like,
can handle it.
I got this."
And at the very end, in the Japanese, Haku says the same thing. Don't look back, just keep going. And then when they finally make it out, get the parents back, yada yada. The parents don't have those lines. They don't have like, it's gonna be blah blah. And then she doesn't say, "I think I can make it," because Hayao Miyazaki, the way he wrote it is that by the time she looks back, she has completely forgotten everything that's happened.
Yeah.
Her memories are completely erased.
Wow. Wow.
Because you can't remember the spirit world. You can't do that.
No.
Because then the illusion's
Yeah.
broken.
A lot of Pixar's like redubbing changed a lot of how we
Yeah,
feel.
because they
we
added
get it.
lines.
They added
too,
lines
to
because American
explain
audiences,
things.
yeah, because they don't know what bathhouses are.
Yeah.
Does that make you sad?
Yeah.
So upset right
Yeah.
now.
It's depressing.
In a way that you
No,
would
but no.
prefer it, or that
It is.
But this is. We'll
I
talk
haven't
about-
sat with it enough yet.
No, we'll talk about it because I'm going to talk about it. It's probably one of my favorite moments.
Well, I'm asking Caitlin, does it make you sad because you
it
want
make you
that,
sad?
or it make you sad because
It's one of those things where it's like
Both.
both.
the
It's
knife
like
was
a
still there.
bittersweet where it's like I'm okay with that being the ending, but I'm
Yeah.
also happy pretending that I didn't experience it because I only ever watched. Wait, no. I didn't know the actual translation.
Okay.
So
You must taste bitter before you must taste
So
sweet.
I
I'm
only
kinda
taste
likening-
sweet and I'm keeping the sweet.
So that was pretty quick.
Yeah.
I'm likening this situation to like Little Shop of Horrors, like the real ending of Little Shop of Horrors, and then what
Oh, you mean like the
The-
stage play to the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's dark
dark.
as shit.
real
Good.
dark. And they
Yeah.
did a test audience, and they were like, "Nah, bruh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Can't happen.
Yeah.
Rick
nah,
Moranis
you
can't
can't do it
sell
that
the
way."
whole thing.
No. So
So there we are.
So a little bit of history about it. Hayao Miyazaki and company, so such as people like Toshio Suzuki, and I forget the other actual guy that the fucking movie's based off of. Like they're all associate producers to Hayao Miyazaki, and they worked from their bottom line up of like different animation.
Oh, the other guy
studios
whose kid it's
is
inspired.
based off of.
Chihiro.
Yeah, and they worked mainly at Toho, Toho, and they saw like how anime was at that time. And they were inspired a lot by the anime from the animation times from like the 60s. And I mean, and Hayao Miyazaki grew up in like the 40s, and so he was able to see like the decimation from World War II.
oh, okay.
Yeah. And see how like the world was changing and there was not a lot of messages going on. Anyways, fast forward to when like actual Ghibli has been made. There was a lot of like actual
Ghibli.
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 There's actually a lot of problems between Disney and Ghibli because they would like Disney would take the distribution rights to distribute it in the Western Hemisphere, and they would destroy the audio. They would destroy the translations and like. It's funny we mentioned Jeff Nimoy. What Jeff Nimoy did was like kind of take their own idea of it, and like our version of what Digimon is because of what Jeff Nimoy did.
Yeah.
And for me, I think it worked for the better. And then there is that argument or that discussion we've had over like sometimes the English dub works better than the Japanese, like true language.
Yeah.
But this one was much more like a bad taste disrespect. And then later on, it wasn't
Not this film, for those
not
who
this
are listening
film.
home.
And this is not
Just the
Hayao
partnership.
Miyazaki's first film.
Yeah.
And later on, it was because of John Lasseter. John Lasseter was a fan of the studio, a fan of Hayao Miyazaki, went to Japan to go watch it and fell in love with it, watched it in the original Japanese, and then approached Hayao to be like, yo, if we take it, how can we do it? And other people were trying to get it. Other people were trying to get this movie.
Of course.
DreamWorks was trying to get it. But the deal that they made was like, we want all of your movies, and the deal is we won't cut one scene.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
that's the deal. Like we won't cut one scene.
And he was heavily involved, if I remember correctly, Hayao was heavily involved with the translation of it all.
And I think it was because John Lasseter ended up like showing him Luxo.
Yeah.
Luxo, the little in Pixar, they have a little fucking
the
lamp.
lamp.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
and
There's
that's
a
why they
reference
have
of
the
it in the
squeaking.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the
it's
lamp
that-
that they see
yeah.
at Zimbabwe's house.
Yeah.
Zaniba, but
Zaniba.
close. So very close.
Bizibos. I'm kidding.
It's
But
gonna be
yeah.
different every time he says it.
I know.
But yeah, so I mean, that kind of started the relationship, and I think now we see like, and that's funny because when I first watched a Studio Ghibli film, it was Key's Delivery Service on Disney Channel. So Ollie, you missed out. Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
Thanks for reminding me.
You're welcome.
We love you.
But no, yeah, I mean, and the funny thing that I like a lot about everyone, so everyone says that Hayao Miyazaki is the Japanese Disney. I think that's a complete falsehood. Mainly because Disney.
Explain since they're about to get a theme
Because
park.
he's not anti-Semitic.
Also,
Well, there is that tiny point.
I'm using
but
the theater thing and
Yes, and.
but it's because his films, he's highly most of the films in that studio are highly influenced with his work. Like a majority of them are his, but some of them are not directed by him or not written by him and all that. But Disney, there's not one real through line.
Right.
There are a bunch of collaborators, and those are two different ideologies. Whether one works better for the other, cool. But to compare them are it's a little
Maybe,
off.
well, maybe they are actually comparing it to like old Disney, where it was one person, was one through line, comparing like who had
Like
who had
one
the
director.
like one Walt Disney, when he had control of the studio, they were all under his ideas and his films.
But I mean, the one thing to me,
But
like,
now, yeah, it's a mess.
I mean, my boy, it's like to me, it's like my boy, Hayao. It's
Yeah.
like written, directed by, written, directed by, written, directed
Yeah,
by. It's
right,
like,
right.
fuck yeah. And then the one producer that produced all the movies.
So
Like,
I see what you're saying.
you're saying they're more like Kevin Smith movies.
I would say it like this. It's like if Christopher Nolan directed every DC movie ever.
Right.
It's like, oh, that's fucking more impressive than what Marvel can do. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like Marvel has like this beautiful tapestry of different directors, but it's like if Chris Nolan could just direct all of them, it's like, oh, that's kind of hard.
Yeah.
That's really hard
Yeah.
I know
to
what
pump
you're saying.
out movies left and right and all be hitters. You
Yeah.
know?
And he pulls a lot. I mean, as we have discussed before the show, he pulls a lot from just his day-to-day life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the way he can change that, like I had read that the river monster was inspired by
Him cleaning a river or
him
something.
his
volunteering to
community,
clean
yeah.
a river,
And
and
he
they
actually
pulled a
pulled out a
bike
bike.
out of the sludge.
And they
in
thought
the
it was
river.
going to be a breeze, but it was attached to so much other garbage.
Yeah.
And then when they finally pulled it out, it was like putrid smelling.
Or like Tom had referenced earlier, like Chihiro is actually based off his producer's 10-year-old daughter at the time, who was like kind of lonely, and he was like, I'm just gonna write a film about that. So like it's really how you spend your day to day, right?
I want to go into a lot more of the details because I think we have some richness in it. But I want to go over just for the audience so they know of just the details.
Tell us the facts.
The details. Distributed by Studio Ghibli in Japan and then also by Toho in July 20th, 2001. But Pixar took it up and it was under the helm of John Lasseter. And John Lasseter hired his own crew of people to do the English dub and all that stuff. But it's still held under, directed by Hayao Miyazaki, who, Ghibli.
Yeah.
All day, every day. Produced by Toshio Suzuki, who's also been his partner to work on all the films. Writers is Hayao Miyazaki, but then the English writers were Cindy Davis Hewitt and Donald H. Hewitt, because I want to give them credit mainly because if they didn't do their job, we would not be talking about it today.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Fair.
The cast in the Japanese is Rumi. You need help me.
Hiragi.
Hiirage.
Who's Chihiro and Sen, who also did voices in Ponyo and then From Up on Poppy Hill. And these two are other Studio Ghibli films. Next one.
Hiiragi. Miyu Irino.
Yes, who was voice of Haku. I have to put the Japanese actors in there because we gotta pay respect.
No,
Can't-
yeah.
Can't be that uncultured.
You don't even need to
swine.
explain
I'm
it.
also probably kind of pronouncing these wrong, but I probably have a mildly
Well,
better
Great.
chance.
Why did we have?
Sorry, guys.
As long as you're trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying my best.
Well, no, you're gonna try way better than I can ever do.
Fair point.
Voiced also in Reservoir Chronicles Tsubasa, also in Kingdom Hearts as Vanitas, Vanitas and Sora. So in the
Jeez.
Japanese original is Sora and Vanitas, so it's super dope.
Nice.
Next,
Mari Natsuki.
who is Yubaba, or my mama, who plays Auntie in Isle of Dogs.
Yeah.
And then also much more prominently, a pretty famous film called Legend of the Eight Samurai.
She also played Zamboni with Yaba.
Oh, of
Yubaba.
course.
Yeah.
Zaniba.
Same thing.
In English is Deve or Devi?
I say
Chase.
Deve.
Deve Chase, who is Chihiro / Sen in the English, but also Lilo.
Lilo.
I knew
Lilo.
that voice.
Yeah.
And more importantly, Samara from The Ring.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
that's
one
not
that
as good.
crawls out the TV.
That's-
Yeah,
Not
gave
as
me
excited
nightmares
about
as a
that one.
teenager.
Jason
Scared
Okay.
me, that movie, for some
Oh,
reason.
really?
No.
Jason Marsden in Ollie, your favorite movie, Hocus Pocus. He plays Binks.
Yep.
The
Thackeray's
cat.
James Marsden. What movie are you referring to?
It's a Jason Marsden.
He's talking about Hocus Pocus.
Oh.
He plays the cat, which is funny because it's the same character he plays here. It's just a boy who's turned into an animal by a witch helping a little girl. So
And he also plays
Wow.
Impulse in Young Justice, which
Yes,
I
he
love. And he
does.
plays Max in one of the greatest Walt Disney movies of all time, Goofy movie.
Oh,
Wow.
nice.
Okay.
Suzanne Pleshette, who is Yubaba, and she was mainly more famous in TV shows. Maggie Briggs, or it's Suzanne Pleshette is Maggie Briggs. That's the name of the show.
Yeah.
yeah,
And then The Boys Are Back, and I think this was her last feature
In
film.
town.
it was.
Well, wasn't she also? She was very famous for Bob Newhart.
Mhm.
She like, if you look it up, it's like hundreds of episodes. Like,
Yeah.
because she was
I
his
did not know that.
girlfriend, I believe. So that's how she made
You're
her
his
start.
girlfriend.
I'm his girlfriend.
Bob Hope.
Stop it.
Fine.
I mean,
gladly.
that'd be cool. David Ogden Steers, who's Kamaji, who is Spider Robotnik,
Yep.
which I love, who is Major Winchester in MASH.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cogsworth in Beauty and the Beast,
Mm.
and Governor Ratcliffe in Pocahontas.
Oh, yeah.
Bastard.
Yeah.
Can
Yes.
I have some honorable mentions?
Yes, please.
I made a list because I was looking up everybody. Lynn is Susan Egan, who
Megara.
was Meg from Hercules.
So good.
She was also,
That
me
bodacious
being a
body.
theater guy, she originated the role of Belle in The Beauty and the Beast on
Whoa.
I did not know that.
on Broadway, and she was nominated for a Tony for that.
Nerd alert.
The dad was Michael.
The breathing. Ugh.
The dad was Michael Chiklis. Chiklis?
Chickless. Chickless.
Michael
Michael
Chiklis.
Chickless. Like no girls.
Yeah.
My
Chickless.
Oh,
my favorite is No Face. Bob Bergen is the
Bob Bergen?
basically the voice
Bob
of Porky
Bergen's
Pig.
No Face.
Who's that?
Porky Pig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bunch of voices.
Yeah.
Since like the
he's
80s.
a million different voices, but Porky Pig
I'm
is like a
sure.
very
If
prominent
you ever
role.
get a chance to watch him do Porky the Pig, it's
yeah.
Fascinating.
He
It's
breaks,
amazing.
he breaks the stutter. There's a video where
and
he
then
breaks
he's
down
like,
the
and
stutter.
that's why I have this job.
Yeah.
Because no one else
do
can.
that. Yeah.
But in here, he's just.
No, it's
Any more from your list, Josh?
No, that was pretty much.
mom was God, what's her name from Dumb and Dumber? Mary from Dumb and
Was-
Dumber. Holly
Samsonite.
Holly
Lane.
something.
Hunter, not
I
Lane.
feel bad, but there was a fun fact about that the actress who played the mom in the movie during the eating scene was actually eating fried chicken.
The Japanese.
Yeah. Was eating fried chicken during that scene so she could sound like she had food in her mouth, and she did an apple. She took a bite of an apple and do the scene with food in her mouth as well. Are you looking it up?
Aha. No, I was looking up the baby because it's Tara Strong.
Yeah.
Strong. It's
Who
Bubbles.
is like a million
Really?
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bubbles, Raven.
Like
Everybody.
Is,
Every-
everything now.
Wait, was she Timmy Turner too?
She's Timmy Turner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you said Tina Turner, and I was like,
Was she Tina Turner?
She was also Tina Turner.
wow.
That
The
wouldn't
run-
surprise me.
As we mentioned earlier, the runtime is over 2 hours. It's 125 minutes, so 5 minutes over.
It's multiple minutes.
the gross budget, or I'm sorry, the budget for it.
That was like the gross budget.
the gross budget.
Gross.
Gross.
In dollars, in doll hairs, it's 15 to 19 million, but it worldwide was 289.1 million.
I
Yeah.
can't even imagine how much
So,
it's made like now.
And
too.
to create an idea, worldwide before it even hit America was 200 million,
Yeah.
and then once it hit America, it got the rest of the 89 million. So like it was a hit before it got to America.
Even if it had just made 89 million, it would have
Been ridiculous.
been enough.
Yeah.
It would have been
Ridiculous.
enough.
off a 19,
okay.
15 to 19 million budget. Making 89 back would have been crazy.
For those at home who give a shit about Rotten Tomatoes, it was at 100% like in 2017, but then now it's at 97%.
Yeah.
Because the internet is a strange place.
Haters gonna hate.
Jerk
And
Ollie
it won.
decided to watch it. And
You know,
give a
that's
low
going to be
score.
it's going to be the
me.
jerk of the episode. Whoever's the lowest is the person who did that. I'm kidding.
It's Ollie.
kidding.
Academy
zero.
Award
We're all
winner
entitled to your opinions.
for Best Animated Film of 2002.
Against Lilo and
And
Stitch.
Stitch.
So she was in both. She was like,
I won.
Ice Age,
Yeah.
Spirit, that one horse movie, and Treasure
yeah.
Planet, that one Joseph
That
Gordon-Levitt
one
movie.
horse
Yeah.
movie.
I love
I mean-
Treasure Planet.
What else do you remember?
Yeah, no, I know.
this one I didn't know. 2016 voted fourth best film,
Fourth best film?
fourth best film of all time.
Yeah, in the out of 177 film critics, which
Yeah.
is like, I give critics a bad rep because it's like
You do.
they're not there to like something. They're there to criticize and critique it,
Yeah.
whether they're going to like it or not. And I'm like, I don't know if that's cool. But I mean, again, it's featured in Cahiers du Cinema, which is like something I've studied, which is pretty much like, imagine it like the Time magazine for French people about films.
Yeah.
So it's like huge. And every year they have like, these are the films that if you have a brain, you watch. And it's like, okay, yes, sir. Yes.
Wow. Is it that
Francais.
judgmental?
Exactly. It is. I had to
Okay.
study it in a theory book. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right.
Wow.
All right. Just, take that.
If you have a brain, watch
yeah.
these.
But after all that moves us on to favorite parts.
Favorite
does it
parts.
not?
The whole movie.
The
I
whole
liked the movie.
Caitlin, why don't you start?
It was good.
What's your favorite part?
Oh, fuck.
One favorite part.
Now you have to be specific.
The roasted newt was great.
Just let me suck the tail. I was
I
like,
know.
But also,
like-
have you had roasted newt?
no.
You don't know.
First
I don't
of
know.
all, I'll never be that
I don't think I've
excited
ever
a
talked about
roasted newt.
anything like that though.
But
You just talked about my mom's cooking before we
And
started.
I said I would like some more. It's not even close.
Respectfully.
it's not, let me suck on the Tupperware. Like,
Yeah.
it's a little
I've
different.
never had anyone order a burger in front of me and be like, can I just lick the bun? Like,
Yeah. Well, I feel like to
Want the
me
same
that
skin?
was very girled. That was very good, like world building, because it was like the what's important to people is completely different here than anywhere else. Because she
Yeah.
was treating it like,
Except for gold. Gold.
except for
she was
yeah,
treating it like gold though.
she was treating it as like almost more valuable than gold. Like she was really sticking her neck out
Yeah.
for something that she said she could
Yeah.
get killed for, and she's like, "But I could get a roasted newt."
Yeah.
I'm in. Like,
That's all it takes.
yeah, that was all it took.
takes.
All of the characters, like, there's oh boy, this is gonna be rough.
Yeah.
Everybody just
you
jump
had,
in.
you had a
'cause
moment. You had your.
I have my moment. I have my moment, but
Okay.
I have so many more.
My favorite's the train sequence. So I want to say you. When I say Caitlin, you may be familiar with the term ma.
Ma,
Yeah. In Japanese animation, they have a lot of ma in this film, which is like moments of like silence or moments of like there's a frame, there's a little bit of animation going on, but that's it. And
Yeah.
like I think we call it like world building. That's how we traditionally have called it. But in Japanese context, it's much more around the sense of like you're creating an added dimension so that your stakes for drama are more complex. And to me, it's something that I think, sadly, our brains are much more powerful than we give it credit for. And that's the reason why we love TV. We love consistent impulse, like,
Flash,
Give me more.
information. We love consistent
information
input.
overload.
We can process way more than we can actually put out. And that's why we can watch a show, listen to music, and eat at the same time. Because we can take in multiple things at the same time. But this allows you, and I always kind of talk about it with sushi. You can grab it and eat it all in one bite, but the thing is you're going to be chewing for a while. And you have like a small amount of things, but it's like it forces you to slow down and it forces you to kind of just take it in and play around with those complex flavors with your eyes. And so in this train sequence, like like from the moment like they're on that stupid little bucket boat. I love the stupid sound. I'm just it's
The most
amazing.
useless boat.
It's so amazing.
Gets them places.
It gets some places, but it's like
sort of.
This is like
kind of
It did.
ish.
I forget if I said it to you, Josh or Corey, but I called it. This is like the wheel 1.0 of a boat. I love it, and like the moment like
It's like mash these potatoes with this butter knife. You're like, I'm doing it.
well the reason why
Kind of.
this became my favorite moment mainly because like Chihiro is just thrown into a lot of things, and like a lot of symbolism of like her name's being taken away. So like Chihiro the child is dead, and now Chihiro the woman is going to be created. And so like the original Japanese name is very much about resurrection. And so when she leaves the spirit world, she's like an adult. But like so far, it's very much like busy work. It's like do this, go do that, it's just so you can survive. And and at first she's like, I need to get my parents back, and that's her first catalyst into this world. And then later on, she realized like Haku's in trouble. And this is like, to me, this is third act. This is like Haku's in trouble. She needs to go to Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Zebramen's. Go over there to like apologize. And the thing is like, she's not like trying to give him anything. She's just literally going there because someone that she loves is hurt. And she needs to go there to try to make amends. And she doesn't even know where that goes. And she gave the one thing she was saving for her parents to Haku and then later on to No Face. So it's like she has nothing to gain from this now. And this is to me where the part where she finally started doing things not for herself.
And I like leading up to that is, Dr. Robotnik is talking about how
Wow,
the train
so
used
casual.
to go both ways, but now it kind of only heads in one direction. And she, without hesitation, goes, "Okay, I'll just walk back."
Yeah.
Like there's no thought about that. This is a one-way trip.
I mean, and this is, again, from the immediate of like trying to get her attention in the car and then calling her name twice to like, can I get a ma'am out of that? Can I say it? Can you be polite? It's like, say thank you to Kamaji. It's like, okay, thank you. Like she's consistently having to learn. It's not her becoming subservient, but it's about her becoming respectful for spirits and people who are giving her opportunities to like survive.
Coming outside of herself.
Yeah.
Too.
And in this moment, there's a lot of there's a lot of moments of like they're sitting down, they're looking out, they're seeing the waves, cascading outside of the train. And one of my favorite shots is pretty much like when they stop by like a train stop and you see all these little shadow silhouettes leaving and walking away. One of them's a girl, and just like stays on her just a frame longer than you needed to, just to give you that idea of like, oh shit, there's this like reflection mirror. And like when you're playing with windows and mirrors is just a two-way mirror, a two-way window, right? This is like she's seeing something. She's seeing like a version of herself that no longer is there.
Yeah.
And the thing I love about trains and automobile and locomotion is like you can walk.
They get you places.
Well, that's the thing.
I thought it was general.
If you see, we've talked about films where people are on treadmills and like they're trying to run on things, but they're not going anywhere.
Oh, because it's a track.
It's a symbolism of it, right? And it's like you're on something and you're not even moving, but
That
yet
line
you're
from
going.
Darjeeling. He's like, we haven't located the train yet.
Oh yeah,
It's on a track. We haven't located the train yet. This means something.
we don't know where we are, or we're
Yeah.
trying to look for ourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's those moments where it's like they're
We have
sitting.
to find ourselves first.
find ourselves.
Yeah, that's what it is. We have to find ourselves first.
They're moving, and then they're not. They're doing nothing but sitting, but they're actually just taking in more of like the reflection of everything that's going on. And
Fun fact is that house is supposed to be a tribute to the Kame house.
Wait.
Kame,
Really?
Yeah, it's supposed to be a nod.
because it's
It's a
an
house
island.
on an island with a couple trees.
Yeah.
A pink house on an island with a
What is that?
Kame is
It's
Dragon
from
Ball Z.
Dragon Ball.
No.
Kame, that's what it is. But yeah, I mean that's become my favorite scene. But also, like it's the one image you see on all the YouTube lo-fi streams, and there's something really cool.
Oh, just them sitting there
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
And that's the cool thing too. In that image, there's just something really cool about this girl who has kind of a blank expression, and these little
Hamster and
hamster
tiny
and
bird
thing
net.
bouncing up and down, and then
No
a no
face.
face right next to him. It's like, what is going on? Where are they going? Obviously, they're waiting together. They're sitting close in proximity, but also, only motion that's happening is these little these little animated creatures. So that's my favorite scene.
And they were having a good time.
They were. That was one of my favorite parts as well. But in order to diversify a little bit,
Diversification.
there is something really special to me about the scene on the stairs when she's first going down to the boiler room and she slips.
Oh,
And,
the stair breaks.
Yeah, so like it's kind of her first kind of literally being thrown into this world. And she's being so cautious, like she gets down on the ground to crawl down the first 2 steps, and then the one breaks. And the thing I love about it is that she slides for the first turn and then gets up and then she's sprinting down the stairs. And my wife and I rewound it and watched it like 3 or 4 times because it's so, first of all, it's so relatable. We've all been in that moment where we've been so scared that your fight or flight kicks in.
Yeah.
And you just like, you
Go.
reach under and like a spider jumps out and you literally walk across. You don't need to back up that much, but you walked out of the room and,
And
just
you're
gone
doing
like,
the
nope.
dance, and you're like,
Nope.
ah.
You know what I mean? Or like,
nobody does
you know,
that?
I equated to like, I used to work in a grocery store where I'd have to go get carts in the parking lot and I would almost get hit by cars on the daily because no one's paying attention. And I would literally have that moment where I'd jump out of the way and I'd like run for like 5 or 6 more steps and just be like, oh, that adrenaline though.
I know that we don't need the story, but I feel like I have to tell it while it's in the forefront
Yeah.
of my mind because you brought it up with the spider thing.
Yeah.
I had a friend that fight or flight kicked in because they saw someone said they thought they saw a spider on their arm, and their fight or flight kicked in so hard they ripped off all of their clothes and ran through the house.
Yeah.
In
Like-
2 seconds.
It's like
yes.
it's like
I told you
someone
never
it's like
to tell
someone
that story.
telling you
Sorry,
there's
Josh.
a bee by your head. Like you don't just kind of duck or swat. You literally run out of the danger.
And you
So-
scream.
So there was just this moment. It was just a very innocent, pure moment of her like sprinting with her arms up down the stairs until she hits the wall, and then that's where she's at.
That
And
was
then-
my favorite moment because it was very cartoonish.
Yeah.
Because it was like, poof.
Yeah.
Like,
And
you
then
almost
it comes
squeaky
back
sound,
later. She does it again when she's running from No Face. She hits the wall, and then he does twice as hard. But just I really enjoyed that 10 seconds, if that,
Yeah.
of film.
It was pretty good.
It made me laugh really hard, and it kind of just depicts how, you know, kind of out of place she is and how she's being forced into this. Is that she's literally like, I can do nothing but move forward. So,
Mm.
Yeah.
Ali.
Man, there's so
Awesome
much
thing.
in this. One thing that I really enjoyed
credits.
was the
Oh my
credits.
God.
So I was
No,
like, thank
get-
goodness.
leave.
Wow, we really make you out to be a bad guy.
Hey,
So
it's
quiet
Ali
and
Ali
pleasant. Oh,
Ghibli
no.
free?
Yeah.
Ghibli free.
Ali Ghibli free.
Ghibli free.
Welcome to American
Free
Media.
of Ghibli? Is that kind of the
No.
I guess.
okay? It's a small detail, but it's something that made me like perk up this last time I was watching it. I was like, oh, okay, this is like
Explain.
pretty awesome. And it's so mundane, it's so small.
It's the chickens and the little dumpling thing, right?
It's when the dad gets out of the car and is like running to find the food,
Oh yeah.
and like it has the shot as of him running towards the camera,
The zipper.
and you see the zipper for like a half second.
Yes, I caught that this movie
I
too.
didn't even catch that.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's such a
I have no idea what you're
Tiny
talking about.
detail.
I know
like,
the
put
scene.
that
I just
in.
didn't catch
Do you-
it. I must have looked away.
And Corey, you know, I mean, do you know the whole thing with the Audi?
No.
Like there was such this big like fascination with the Audi because they wanted to like really show the parents to be like this Western influence
Yeah.
of like consumerism, blah blah. So they had this like gaudy Audi, right? And like they have these like polos, which are very European, but like when they're driving through the forest, the brake system, like that type of brake system that the Audi has, is patented for that model.
Yeah.
And so when he's pressing the brake, it kicks back. And so they animated that specific thing to make sure it's like that's that car.
The anti-lock 4-wheel drive. He talks about it too. We got 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
I got
Oh, yeah.
credit cards and cash.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, we get
debt.
it. We're Americans. We suck.
Yeah. But
Wow.
aside from that, I don't know if I have like an entire like any single moment
Get
that
out.
stuck out.
Get
Oh.
out.
That's okay, Ollie.
but yeah,
I
that was-
accept you here.
I just appreciated the
God.
detail throughout the whole.
The like bath water. To me, like
very
the
satisfying.
detail of the bath water
Yeah.
and how each type of like soak is very specific. And when they put out the it was worm salt,
Herbal.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
The worm salt had that thickness to it that you're like, I know if I sat in that, it would be gross,
so
but
wonderful.
I'd feel great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll say that like
It's like jelly.
the physics
Yeah,
were
yeah.
like really well done.
yeah.
So
Amazingly.
like water and then
Clothing, I thought for me when she goes, I
Clothing.
said, "Come here," and she's being pulled through the doors, and her shirt is like fluttering in
Yeah.
the wind.
well like when like the hair goes all crazy and like the
Wraps
animation
around
goes
Haku.
all like
Yeah.
yeah like that was just really
the stink spirit,
nicely
like
done.
when the
Oozing.
nasty
The oil.
ooze comes out, whatever that was.
I always thought
the
it was
wind
oil.
effects.
Ugh.
Sludge, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of the details just have so much
Well
weight
done.
to them. Well done. Yeah, Josh. Sorry.
Jashy Jash.
Well,
$10
my
sex
favorite.
toy.
Yep. There we go.
That's me. Don't take that from me.
That's his name.
My favorite sequence, I have like little tidbits that are like my favorite, but my favorite sequence is the stink spirit that turns into like the river spirit. It was just the whole, like everything, everybody's like reaction to it. And like even Chihiro's like her body's like shaking because the smell hits her and she's
Her
like
hair and everything.
yeah. And it's just the unfoldment. And then at the end of the sequence, like when the river spirit is kind of freed from the grossness and there's some quiet moments where the water kind of like
Embodies her.
her and there's quiet moments, like actual, like there's nothing going on. And then
That's what
there's
you're talking about, is those water sequences, right?
yeah. Yeah.
That you like to talk about.
You son of a bitch.
Really popular.
Side note: the water spirit, like when the face rose out of the water, terrified me.
Really?
Yeah.
Just looks like a mask.
No. I was
Oh, okay.
like, that
Well done.
is. Ugh. At first, I'm way more okay with it now. But when I first saw it like a long time ago, I was like, that is a spirit that knows too much.
You looking
He
up,
knows.
Tom?
Yeah, I'm looking up. I want to see where she's going, but go on, Josh.
So I mean that specific sequence I really like. For some reason, I really like the detail to when she is slowly disappearing at the beginning of the adventure. Like for some reason,
Back to the Future style.
yeah, she was just slowly disappearing, and I don't know why, but I was like, that is so fucking cool. That now I understand that the way that animation works, but it's just like that is still fucking cool
Oh,
to
yeah.
see this character in animation slowly going opaque and slowly disappearing. It
And
was
then
just
she
like
plays
kind of
Johnny
a
Be
technical
Good
thing.
for the prom.
Yeah.
And her parents.
First
fall
her
in love
hand
and
That I
goes
it's
didn't
away.
expect.
But to Caitlin's point about that mask thing, I think the only reason why it irks you so much is because it's so wrinkly looking.
It's pretty
Well,
wrinkly.
It's
it's
like
less,
And it has no real
it's-
body. It's just
it's
a
less to do
just the jaw and that.
It's less to do with the wrinkly and more to do with like the fact that like the jaw is decayed and like the body's not there yet. So it's like
so it's the face first, and then the
It's-
mouth comes later.
the mouth comes later
Yeah.
and there's no body. So
it looks
it's
like, a steak that's been cooked well
You know-
done.
no, God, Corey.
You know what it looks like, Corey? This is for your wife. It looks like an old ET.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow,
A wrinkly sack
wrinkly,
of skin.
wrinkly.
She calls him a ball sack with legs. So
wow.
I get it. A
Wow.
moist ball sack with legs. There it is.
Yeah.
That's what she thinks of ET.
I wish
I
I'd
said-
never heard those words together.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Any other favorite parts?
The other one
100.
is it's a little tiny one. It is where
always
it's the
little-
slug.
oh.
It's the slug part where she steps on the slug and they're doing this like
Oh.
break but the little
The
tiny mouse
reenactment.
steps on the little thing and he's like,
You see?
and one of the little soot things comes up and goes.
So I
It
learned
was
what that
so
was.
tiny,
I didn't
like-
know what that was, and that's apparently in the Japanese culture. It's a like a good luck thing. It's
Yeah.
like it's a way to cut ties from any bad luck.
Um,
I didn't know.
equivalent to
That's why he says cut the line, and she does this.
equivalent to English American people would be.
Knock on wood.
Oh, I was gonna say circle, circle, dot,
Yeah.
dot. I got the cootie shot.
Yeah.
I have never heard that
Me
before
neither.
in my
Really?
life.
I've never
That's
heard
why you
that.
guys have cooties.
Yeah, you guys have
I do
cooties.
have
We gotta
100%.
like fix that.
I would say it's more like knock on
pronto.
wood because it's for good luck,
Yeah.
See, you have cooties. That's what's wrong.
and adults use it. And
Wow.
it's not just for kids.
Do I still have cooties?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Go on.
I loved the three heads.
Ed, Ed, and Eddie.
Yeah.
I call them
that-
Ed and Eddie.
That would just bounce around.
Those were fun.
Oh my God,
They were like her dogs. They were essentially like that's how I equate them. Is they all run up and they're like Luna.
Oh my god.
My three dogs.
They
Everybody
just
at
come
home.
up and they're like, hey, and she's like, easy, and then they like calm down, and then that's it.
You know what? The one thing though I didn't like is that one of them had like a separate mustache, and then two of them have like a full mustache. I'm like, could you give one just straight, just like I want all three of them to have a little different.
Well, it's like
One should have a
Raoul
unibrow.
and Cleo have short hair, and then Luna's got the long wavy hair.
Well, they're all distinct in that way, but two of them have the exact same facial hair, and
Yeah.
then one of them has a
That's
different
fair.
one. I'm like, you could.
Oh my god, what a nitpicky
Wow.
thing of you
That's a very
to
nitpicky.
say.
Ooh,
This is a 4 point.
the rice balls.
Yeah,
The rice
When
balls.
she's crying and
When
eating?
she's like,
Oh
yeah.
my god.
I almost took like a little video of that and like sent it to you guys and be like, how much can you relate to this?
crying and eating.
Are you
Yeah.
are you crying because you're eating, or are you eating because you're crying?
Those things are
It's a little
mutu-
column A,
not
little column
mutually
B.
exclusive for me. They are exclusive together. I
Yes,
cry and eat
yes.
all the time
Yes.
I eat because I cry.
from happiness.
Oh.
But I cry because I'm eating.
Yeah.
I love
Because
it.
you,
It's
yeah.
really
So
good,
happy.
but I'm
Mine's
really
happy cry.
sad. That's why I'm eating
Like,
in the first place.
So good.
I
My
love
God.
I love Haku's design as a dragon. I think the colors they used is pretty dope. And I love that
Do you like he's furry?
that
Falcor.
He's a furry dragon.
Falcor. Miyazaki had his artists come with him to the vet
Oh yeah, and
while
studied
they
the
held
dog.
the
Oh, yeah.
dog's mouth open and gave it like
And you can
medicine
see
and
it. Like
treats.
you watch it
Oh.
and you're like, oh yeah.
Because none of them had a dog,
None had a
apparently.
dog.
So
Yeah.
they didn't know how to draw it the way he wanted. So he was like, come with me. And they just fed his dogs treats in the office while the vet was like, okay, this is how, and it would like move around and like be all pissed, but then it got treats. So
The thing I liked
Whatever.
about that in that same sequence is like when they fall through the tunnel thing, like he made the animators like have him cling onto the wall like a gecko first and then fall down. And he's like, this has to happen. No matter what, that has to happen. And everyone's like, what? Okay, whatever. But to me, it makes a lot of sense because I think that's a very defensive thing for like
yeah.
a lizardic,
What?
a reptilian creature to do that.
Yeah.
Like to cling onto a wall and then fall down. Like after you've already fall to the ground, you're still in defense mode. You cling to a wall and then you fall down because you're like passed out. I was like,
When
I like that a lot.
when they first went into the boiler room and he has all his different drawers for his herbs
Oh
that
my
he's
God.
grinding, my wife immediately went like, he's seen tidying up. 100%.
Marie Kondo!
He's been Marie Kondoed because he has a
Box
shelf
for everything.
and then they all get destroyed.
I love that scene
Not
because of the
all.
little
They just
soot.
get covered in blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, those little soot creatures just make
Soot
me
sprites.
laugh.
Yeah, the soot
Those
sprites.
make me
That was going to
laugh
be the
every
moment I
time.
brought up when they found out that she'll take the lump of coal off them if they fall, and the one just like lifts it up and then lets it go on him. And
He's
starts
like,
wiggling around. He's
"Oh,"
like,
but,
"Oh, help me!"
but also the voice for it was completely different. Because like the first time it was like genuine,
Real
like,
panic.
oh shit, oh fuck, oh god. And this one was like, whoa, no.
And then they all start doing it.
It's like babies when they fake cry.
Yeah,
Oh,
Just to
yeah,
see
yeah.
what's gonna happen.
And he's like, "Get back to work, or you all turn back to soot." And they're like,
And they still
"Fine."
don't do it. They
Not
still
at
don't
first.
do
They all
it. They're
bring
like,
it up to her, and they're like, "Take our coal. We're tired." I really loved them. Little
I-
sprites.
I love them.
One of my favorite parts is the introduction of Yubaba. I think that whole
Mm.
like her flying through all the doors and all that, and then like I need to get a job like happens. I'm just like, this
Yeah.
is really cool. And then Yubaba's just like, I don't care. And at every moment, it's like I really like Yubaba a lot because she's a good antagonist, but I wouldn't say she's a villain,
No,
right?
Well, and he even said, like, I didn't want to make her a villain.
Yeah.
She's like stuck running this giant bathhouse. She's got
For
a
spirits.
child.
She's just like the
She's
warden
got-
of the prison, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And it's like you work with them, but like I love you immediately feel the power that she
Yeah,
has.
yeah.
And then also when No Face is charging through and she Kamehameha, I'm just like has an energy blast. I
but
was
then
like,
it doesn't work.
I was like, that's so dope.
I also really liked the moment where Chihiro realizes who Haku is, and she's riding on it, and it
They're
just is.
cry.
They're just maybe it's before this. Maybe it's
when they're in the
before-
air,
When
when
they're in
she's
the
on
air
the
and then they're
dragon.
underwater
Scales
for a
just kinda-
second, and then they're
yeah.
not anymore.
Oh, when she's flashback, like doing a flashback.
She has like
It's her first
a
flashback,
minor
yeah.
flashback.
Yeah.
And it's just for a half a second, and I had totally forgotten why. And I was like, why were they underwater for a second? And just the way that seed is planted is really beautifully done.
Yeah.
I really liked that.
the hair tie.
Yeah.
It'll keep you strong.
Mm-hmm.
Built by your friends.
And
And it's purple.
there's so many moments I love about this film. Yeah, I don't
It's
want to
like
take
it's a
all the
really
time,
good
though.
movie.
It's almost
One might
like
say.
it's a really good movie.
Shall we go
Does that
into
move on to
favorite
side-
characters or
Side
side?
characters.
The
We're
last
gonna
thing
do
I'll
side
say. The
characters?
last
Okay.
thing I'll say is about No Face and that he is
Who's your
based
favorite
off a
character?
silkworm.
Yep.
Because the silkworms in Japan actually have a fake
Face.
face.
Their
and
mouth
mouths
is
are
under it.
underneath it. And he, of course, ends up
Did you-
spinning silk.
Did you
with
see how the original design looked like?
Zimbabwe? What?
Did you see how the original design looked like of No
No.
Face? Imagine No Face ate the Joker.
I'm gonna look it up
No.
after this.
Green hair, purple arms.
Wow.
But yeah, favorite side characters
Oh.
and favorite spirit. Mine's the same. Mine is just No Face. Like
Oh.
I've always loved No Face.
This gives you the option to have two if you wanted to, but okay.
I mean, but I'd be lying then.
Oh.
I mean, like you're like, I like Kamaji and I like No Face.
I like No Face. I think his story is really tragic in a sense because like who knows how long he was
doesn't have
standing
a
on that
face.
bridge.
He's no face.
Well, no one knows how long he was standing on that bridge before she finally gave him attention and sparked his interest.
Yeah.
And he even says it. She's like, "Don't you have a home? Don't you have anyone?" And he was like, "No, I'm just so lonely." And of course, like he goes mad in the bathhouse because he takes in all the energy from all the wrong people. But where his story
Tainted
ends
by
is
them.
really sweet and like helping this old lady spin silk for his new friend and staying there with her and just him trying to like when he comes in with all the bath tokens because you're like, you liked the one. It's just very childlike. Like
Yeah.
you liked the one,
Well, yeah,
right?
he's
Like
getting-
just
Do
wants
you
a
want
friend.
like
Here's
15?
15
Well,
of
he's
them.
literally a sponge. He's
Yeah.
just learning everything childlike.
Yeah.
Like.
Like.
Yeah, and I like the moment because she says thank you to the like bath curator guy.
Yeah.
But
The
I
guy who
think
wouldn't
he
give her a
thinks
token.
it's him. And he's like, "Oh, she said thank you to me. No one's ever said thank you to me before, and no one's ever talked to me or invited me into their home before." And I don't
Yeah.
know. So his story is very tragic, and it ends just the way I want it to. So
Yeah.
I'll say my favorites.
Do it.
It's the little team of like the hamster and the
Oh,
little
and
The hamster and the
Yeah.
gnat bird.
yeah, like that. This every time they did little things. That was the thing about them that I loved, is that they did little things that you're not supposed to see, really, but they're doing little cute
or
gestures
like when
to
it
each
got
other.
tired of flying, and he's
And
like,
then
"Just get on my back."
Yeah.
Well, then she's like, you can sit on my shoulder, and he just
He
keeps
was like,
going.
no.
Yeah.
Or the part is in Zeniaba.
Zaniba.
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 Zathura.
Mm,
on the
no
on the
one's
little,
gonna know
on
the
the
name.
little, on the spinning
one.
thing. We're like
Yeah.
running again, and then like that's the first thing you see inside the house.
I also love that spell wore off hours ago. You can change back at any time, and they're both like, "No,
No, we're happy.
Yeah. So I loves them.
yeah."
Ollie smells not free.
I think it's
You smell expensive. That's a compliment.
Taking a whiff of Ali is
Smells
gonna
not
cost
free.
you like
Apparently, you're
It'll
the,
cost
you're
you.
the $20 sex toy.
no.
I think
Oh.
I was gonna.
Fox's
What?
Oh, go.
Stop.
Let the man speak.
You stop it.
Yeah, I don't. It's the little gnat bird, like the little tiny guy.
The gnat
With
bird?
Yeah,
The
with
gnat bird specifically, or the
Yeah.
gnat bird hamster?
I
like,
kept thinking you were
Just the
saying
bird.
not bird.
Just
like,
the bird.
gnat
Not
bird.
bird.
The
hamster
gnat
was
Like in
fine.
an
bird.
accent, like he's
Yeah.
not a bird.
Like he's not a bird.
He's
Not
not
a bird.
I just he always it always cracked me up, and it was just funny to watch. Like with I guess part of with the hamster, but the bird was what I was like.
Your
amused
favorite
by.
one.
That's
Your
like
It's like
favorite.
an
Laurel-
interesting
it's like-
design. It's like all beak and eyes.
You're
Yeah.
essentially saying you're like, I like Hardy. Laurel and Hardy are a great team together, but Hardy sells it.
Yeah,
I get
exactly,
it.
exactly.
I got you.
What
Yeah.
was your favorite spirit?
My favorite spirit was probably No Face. Yeah, just because it was the most prominent, obviously, and it was interesting how like somber it got once it was like devoid of all the gook and all that stuff,
Ugh.
evilness.
The gook.
Greediness.
Kaylin,
My favorite side character. Heck.
the frog.
Ew. No.
I like the frog.
I'm not
The
a.
little frog.
my
the
favorite
green
part.
one.
My favorite part of
I
that
don't like
little
him.
green frog. Sorry to.
No,
cut you
you're
off,
fine.
Is like when he gets spewed at the end, and he's just like, okay, and then it's like
Just
swims
swims
off.
up.
Yeah.
He's laying there for a minute and he's like, that's right, I'm a frog.
Oh, the part was like gross.
that mom.
I was okay with it and like happy that he was okay, but I was also like, he kind of creeped me out a little bit.
It's just a frog.
He's the
I
first
know.
to pass
I
out at
know.
the bridge.
I know.
Oh, that
Um,
was a cool moment.
Yeah.
Side character. Haku's not really a side character, huh?
I would say everyone's a side character except Chihiro.
Kamaji.
Okay, Kamaji. Kamaji is
Robotnik.
my favorite.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, Spider
Spider
Robotnik.
Robotnik.
I like
Is
that
my
he calls
favorite
her
side
his
character.
granddaughter.
That's who he is in the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, like
Looking out for
he
her.
seems so tough, but really he's just like tired from his job, and he's like, please don't fuck with me right now.
But also he's very capable.
yeah, he's
All
so
those arms.
like he's got all of his shit down pat.
I wouldn't mind having a couple extra
And they
arms.
stretch.
I wouldn't either. Yeah, it was creepy, but also
It's
good
a lot more
and
working
cool.
out.
Oh my god.
Favorite
I could be doing
spirit.
a lot more as well as working at the same time.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh.
He's talking
Like-
about cooking.
I'm talking about like writing papers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because that's
Yeah,
what I do.
exactly.
I'm a teacher. I write papers.
of course.
Kaylin, go ahead.
So favorite spirit. Oh boy.
Boy?
Boy. No, well,
That's for $1.
I have a story, and it's not that it's my favorite spirit. It's just that I had such a strong like life realization with it.
Yeah.
Because with like the spirit world, I grew up super Christian, so learning
It was
about
the
other
radish
religions.
spirit, right?
It was.
Shout out to God.
It was the radish spirit.
Oh, wow. I was right.
It really was. You got it. Like
How the hell
nailed
did
it
you
on
do
the
that?
head. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I was watching this movie and I was watching like the radish spirit like
Oh shit, I was
walk,
right.
it was
I thought you were
when I was
fucking with me.
watching the radish spirit like walk through, I never really noticed him at first, and then when he's like in the elevator and had this kind of like knowing nod with Chihiro, and there's this whole aspect of like losing your memory. And I had been talking with people a lot about like ideas about reincarnation and whatnot. And I was like, what if I come back as a radish spirit and I don't even know who I am anymore? Like, I don't know.
I thought
The
he was
radish
the
spirit
Devo
was like-
spirit because of his hat.
He was, but it was a bowl.
It was a hat.
It was a little bowl to cover up his
chill.
little.
Like,
Yeah.
that
He was
wouldn't be a
super
bad
chill.
life.
Hey,
That
don't
wouldn't be
don't
bad.
at him.
He even helped her. He like stepped
Don't
off and
at
was
him.
like,
I know. It
He's
was
chill.
it was just that was like a little side tangent of like that was a spirit that for whatever reason greatly affected me
Because you like
Um,
radishes.
because I really do.
do.
Actually, like I
Oh,
love
wow.
I used to
daikon.
do a little radish with a little pinch of salt,
Ooh,
just a slice.
Yeah,
that.
I love pickled like
little
daikon
kick,
radish.
Mhm.
spice.
You slice it real thin. You just sprinkle a little salt on it.
I never tried with salt. Should
Nah.
try
We're
that.
talking about
Nah, bro.
murdering him, but that, yeah,
Nah, bro.
Murderizing.
but he is really tasty, so
Okay.
that's fair.
Thumb. Oh, go
yeah.
ahead. Sorry.
You go, and I'll give a little more thought to my favorite spirit.
No. Oh, do you not have it? It's not the radish
That's
spirit?
not. It's not my favorite. That was
hey,
just a little
Do you have
change.
your favorite?
Hey,
Not yet.
Okay.
turns are like virginities. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
Right. That's how that works, Tom.
That's
Thank goodness you have a
That's,
strong grasp on
That's
that
what I was
concept.
taught.
That makes no sense.
Not
we
at
need
all.
to have a little classroom session after this
Yeah,
episode.
we're gonna learn some things today.
About
How
up a little
turns
bit.
work. No. Do
Wow.
you want me to go and then
Yes,
you come
please
back?
go.
Actually, that's the opposite.
It is. I don't want to break it to him.
That's not how that works.
What?
If you don't use it, you keep it, your virginity.
No, but I mean that's what I've been told.
You said if you don't use it, you lose it. But if you use it, you lose it.
Well, that's true, but it's also I mean,
I don't
No,
understand
are you
how
saying
that
4-year-old
makes sense
virgin
at
is
all.
wrong? Are you saying Steve Carell's movie's all wrong?
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Oh,
Yeah.
Soot Sprites.
Okay, there you go.
Duh.
Glad we bought you the
There it
time
is.
for that.
Came into.
There it was.
I like that.
I knew it was
that
there.
was fun.
I knew it
Tom's
was there.
logic helped us buy.
It's not a spirit, but
another
they're
minute and a half.
sprites. I
They
don't
are.
care.
They're spirits.
Yeah, sort of.
Magic.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'll take
You
it.
can like them. I mean,
I'll accept it.
for me, so my favorite side character is Haku. Mainly because I end up finding out like he's not a river spirit. So in the English translation, it's just Haku.
Mhm.
In the Japanese, it's like Haku.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it's
Yeah.
super long
sounds
and they
accurate.
just cut the name off, but it's actually he's like a river god spirit.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
So he's more baller.
Yeah.
he's way more gangster,
baller.
and that's why he can give sentience to water. But
And he can do that sweet little thing he does on the frog in the beginning.
yeah,
where just
I mean
like,
he's
boop.
super powerful. I mean he's quote unquote like he's there initially to show as like he's the knight in shining armor, but then I like the complexity of like the only reason he works for Yubaba is to steal her magic, and then he went to
Zeniba.
I'm literally going to you as a lifeline.
Zeniba.
Zeniba's house to
This is
get.
the phone, the Caitlin part. You QU.
It's like say the name, please.
Zeniba.
Zeniba. Every time I say it goes to, and then you have to do that. Okay. But anyways,
Okay.
goes to her place to like steal her magic. And it's like it's the immediate lesson of like, even though Chihiro like loves Haku, like no one's good or bad.
Mhm.
Like there is this in-between world that they're living in, the spirit world, that no one's good, no one's bad. Spirits could be just as greedy as humans. And even Haku, who's supposed to be this hero, is just as like duplicitous as everyone else. And like
Yeah.
first thing that Lynn says, like, Haku, don't trust him. And that's someone that like she takes her under her wing,
Yeah.
begrudgingly so, but like she hasn't lied and she hasn't had any reason to like save Lynn or anything like that. Lynn's the one that pretty much teaches her everything.
Mm.
And it's like, oh shit, maybe our preconceived notions of like who we trust and who we put our faith into needs to be questioned all the time.
Yeah.
So I really like that aspect of this character, and that he still plays in this like I don't know who I am, and he's a little Mr. Plot device of like, hey, here's the exposition.
I love that.
Exposition
Plot
man.
device.
But my favorite spirit, 2, no face, but then also one of my favorite frames is seeing these little yellow baby chicklets.
Oh, in the
Oh, yeah.
bath
In the
when they're
bath.
like, bah.
The little
Oh, yeah.
dim
Yep.
sum bowl. I'm just like, those are like, I felt like they're so fluffy they're gonna melt into that
For
water.
real though, the
They
food
look
in
like
this
peeps.
looks so delicious.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about
We
it
would
too
all
long
turn
'cause
into
I'm gonna
pigs.
get
so
really
hungry,
hungry.
guys.
We would all turn into pigs in that
would.
world, right?
If I smelt all that, what they walked by, 100%. Although I wouldn't. I would wait for a waiter.
The new version
I'm
would be like-
really bad about that. I would just sit there and wait and be like,
Wait the like
Don't we
hour
just
for it
take
to be
some?
nightfall.
yeah. But then I'd be a spirit, so like it wouldn't work out either way.
The new version is like,
Yeah.
I got
It would.
Venmo.
Yeah.
Disappearing. Like, let me just taste one.
But yeah,
Johnny be good.
those are my favorites. Which then brings us to
Two. Qualms.
qualms.
Or
Qualmy
gripes,
qualms.
as some of us like to refer.
One
to.
person could say gripes.
We'll get through the qualms
Or
and then we'll talk about
issues,
the
as I
gripes.
call
Yeah.
them.
No,
I have a few tissues for my issues.
it's not
Wow.
loud enough.
We should each come up with a different.
I swear to
thing
God,
call it.
This is how the world ends. Not with the death of man.
Mine's just
With the
dislikes.
destruction of beliefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom, you want to start us off?
I mean, I don't really have anything to nitpick.
Me neither. Oh, except for that guy's mustache.
That's a nitpick. That's like a,
You just said you don't have anything to nitpick.
yeah. But I mean, there's,
I'm being a dick. I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. I appreciate it. That's got you're snoping me right now.
Uh-huh.
Snopes. But I there's
Pants on fire.
It's great. It's it is what it is, and it's not trying to be like a princess story. It's not trying to be like a superhero story. And I think the film is very complex for what it is, and I think to me, I think some things are rushed a bit, where it's like you're just kind of thrown in the middle of a shit ton of things to identify with Chihiro and Sen. And Chihiro and Sen, I say those different people because those are different parts of her life. But like, if you're not supposed to really like her at the beginning because she's like this like adolescent
Bratty.
kid. Fucking hate kids. And
He does.
She's a
It's true.
child.
yeah, and then she grows
He
to be
hates
a
movie
better
kids.
character. I mean, this kid's way better than most kids most of the time.
That's fair.
But yeah, I mean, it serves its purpose, and I think there's not a lot you can do to like take away from like the craftsmanship of someone that storyboards, produce, writes, and directs this film.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead, guys. I would love to see what nitpicks you got because
So-
I have none.
Well, the music didn't swell in a certain.
Wow.
I don't know if
You
this
get
is
a lot of
gripe,
shit.
but yeah, it's fine.
Ollie.
Well, you get a lot
I
of
make
shit
my
from
bed.
Tom completely. That's it.
to me, like,
Specifically.
I was listening to a Green Lantern one, and 5 seconds into the film, you're like, "I'm gonna body check you, Ollie," and he hadn't said anything yet.
Ollie also.
said anything.
A gesture.
Also, that's still on the menu.
And
Body
then he
checking
said,
Ollie.
he said nothing but nice things,
Now
and you
there's
said, "I
witnesses.
swear to God, I'll body check you," and he said nothing but,
Swear to God.
and I was the grump.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's hard to tell whether this is a gripe or not, or a qualm, maybe, perhaps. Probably not a qualm, maybe a little bit of a
Maybe
gripe.
it's a quipe.
It's a quipe,
It's crazy.
or it's an issue that
crepe.
needs a tissue.
Or it's crap.
It's you.
It's an issue. I had a hard time pinpointing down if the other humans were supposed to look weird to her. And so I don't know if I lost anything.
Other
in that.
humans?
They being the people on the train.
The other, the people in the bathhouse, like the staff.
Like Lynn.
Oh.
Like I was like, okay, they have the like dots on their head.
I mean, Lynn looked normal. To
But
me,
I was
so
like-
Oh,
I
those are
I'm
those are
Well,
supposed
she
to be
didn't
like
though. She didn't 100%. Like she had like an elongated face
Oh, yeah.
sometimes.
The
Okay.
reason why is because Hayao Miyazaki wanted to make that character specifically have contradictory traits. They wanted to have this person that's like kind of boy, kind of girl.
Yeah.
Because they wanted that person to be like her personality clashes with the way that she dresses,
Yeah.
and it's almost a way for Sen to see herself.
So that's perfect that you said that, because that leads into my only thing that I took
I
away
don't,
from
I don't
this.
think she's a human though.
Well, that's part of it where I'm like, I don't know. So is she like, where is this? What is this? That kind of thing. My whole like logic thing kicks in too much, for that. But for me, there was like, for everything I appreciated, for everything I respected,
I'm
it
gonna
had,
blast
what? I didn't hear what he said.
Let him speak. Don't listen to him. Doesn't matter.
It's going to sound weird, but it had too much like symbology that was like not in the plot of the movie. I don't know.
It wasn't
But,
fleshed
like-
out enough for you?
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
this means something.
I think
because
that's
like I went and did research afterwards, and I was like, oh, like all these.
There's a lot of
revelations
there's a
where I
lot of
was like,
themes that are on top of the main story.
Right.
Right. So that was my only sort of thing that I feel like I didn't get as much as I wanted to out of it because I didn't know what was, and obviously like this guy's a genius, but I don't know what was like when you're in that weird level of, is it a movie mistake or is it intended?
Was it
Like,
a
I
movie
didn't
mistake?
know
Was it
where-
a stylistic choice?
Right. Like
Right.
I didn't know where it landed on that because I don't have
Like-
as much, like I haven't seen all of his movies. So like if I saw some humans that look like that in another movie, then I'm
They
like,
don't.
oh, okay, that's a
Not
style.
that I'm thinking of. I always thought that they were not human.
No one's
You know,
human.
like,
other
think
than
they
her.
are.
I just meant like a humanoid, I guess is a better
Oh,
word to
yeah.
use. But like, I don't know if they were supposed to look, I know some of them obviously have like big heads and stuff, but like the women, I was like, is that supposed to look like a normal woman?
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
I'll speak along to that. I think that's the difficulty with adaptation.
Yeah.
Specifically localization of anime Japanese culture to English, because I can't pronounce the exact name for it, but in that name, like it's a play on the fact of her name being Chihiro and Sen, and the way that the words are working together. It says
I
like-
read that.
Yeah, but like it's those things
For
that
the audience, can you complete that thought?
yeah, so it's like the fact that Sen, and then the way that the words are connected together, it says bathhouse, and then the end of the words like resurrection or like hidden from the world of gods. That's how the entire full Japanese name is supposed to be, and it's a play on the fact that her name is Chihiro, and Chihiro in itself means 1,000
Searches.
1,000 searches
and then like Sen is like
1,000.
1,000. So that reason why he changed that name to that specifically was so that he can make a commentary about how we as modern humans are starting to look at the way we put value on people's names and people's identities. And so it's like you just chop that word and name, so you took away all of its meaning.
Yeah.
And that's something that we can't get with an English word.
Mhm.
Or if we tried to, it wouldn't match the mouth
Yeah.
flaps.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's one example, but for
Corey's
me, it
favorite
was
thing of
more
puns.
of the sort of visual things
Yeah.
that kind of threw me off a little bit. But I mean, it's a great looking movie. And I respect it, but it's just not, it's not the kind of movie that I'm typically drawn towards.
Well, there's
Like,
also
because of those reasons.
there's so much going on. Like
Yeah.
there's
There's a lot.
Right.
I mean,
there's a lot going on,
and-
which I appreciate. And I'm like, once I do the research and I see all the different little facets and things, I'm like, oh wow,
It's
this
something that you have to
this is
kind
an
of do
amazing
some
piece of
research.
art. Yeah. But as just like sit down for 2 hours, having no context and just watch this, you don't get.
No, yeah.
Right.
And to
You
no
know-
fault of your own, and Josh, you mentioned this earlier, is like they even added words.
Yeah.
Like when she says it's a bathhouse, like that's not in Japanese because like
Everyone knows what a
everyone in
bathhouse
Japan
is.
knows what a bathhouse is, but in Western audience they don't know that stuff. So there is again inferred stuff that they don't have for English audience or American audiences.
Right.
So yeah, it just happens to be that way.
Yeah. Is that me? Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Sure.
Can I have a trust stick? Thank you.
I lost it.
Dude, I don't trust you anymore.
Corey, you heard
Aw.
that.
I did.
I
Unfortunately,
hear you.
he said zip. So anyway, go on.
I call it the thrust. stick.
Okay. Oh God. All right.
Josh.
I feel kind of bad for this
I
qualm.
call it the lust stick.
Hmm.
Go on.
I don't like.
Hi, I'm
color.
Tom.
Anytime Chihiro yelled,
I need a job.
I just
Shut the fuck
kind of
You know what's funny? That's kind of the actress thing because she does the same shit in Lilo.
Lilo.
okay. Maybe it was just her the way that she delivers her lines. Sometimes it was like this. I was like, please
It's
stop
also
talking.
an anime thing.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of
But
a thing that
also
I'm not a
hearing-
big fan of.
10-year-olds yell is grating.
Yeah,
So
but I mean,
I think it's accurate.
yeah.
Even
But
though it's grating.
that's
But
me
she's
reaching.
a child,
But that's
Josh.
me reaching. Like it's a nitpick that I'm like, it doesn't ruin the movie for me.
Right,
it's just kind of
right.
one of those.
It irked you.
It may have more if I hadn't just spent a weekend with a 5-year-old who
Yeah.
I constantly had to go indoor voice,
Indoor
voice.
yeah.
You didn't go shut the fuck up.
And I mean, this is
Oh,
why
okay.
people
You're so
say
good.
go watch the
Threatened to turn him
Japanese
into a
instead.
pig.
yeah.
Huh?
Watch the Japanese. You can watch the Japanese too.
Yeah.
The Japanese one, all the voices are very different. The way they're talking and doing stuff.
Okay.
Happens
The
every
kid's
time.
not so like, my ear's bleeding.
Thank you for speaking.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I don't think I have qualms.
I got
Like-
skipped.
Did you?
No, I was waiting for him to be finished so I can go to someone else.
Well,
Yeah.
the only other thing that is kind of a qualm or gripe or issue or whatever.
Sorry,
Qualms.
issue.
An
Qual-
issue.
qualms.
Sorry.
Issue.
Okay, so first, this movie to me, anyway, and I could be dumb. I'm totally okay with admitting that.
We'll hear it first.
We'll
I
let you know,
feel
just say
like this movie is not a one-time watcher. In order to, I know that all movies should be multiply watched multiple times, but I also think that it should be strong enough to be watched once and understand. I felt like there was a lot going on.
Yeah.
In a perfect
Coincidentally
world-
enough, Multiplicity is the only movie you need to watch once.
in a perfect world, you'd
I
be
love that
Pulling
movie.
that in so hard.
So,
I was.
point though.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on, and when you watch something, let's say you didn't watch anything else, and like your brain just chewed on that one thing that you watched for a really long time, and you took in no other media to like sully your thoughts on that one topic.
Okay.
Miyazaki says that like for kids especially, they should see one or two animations a year. So with that kind of thing in mind, if you were watching nothing else and you had nothing but time to just chew on this, because that's the only
Wait,
thing you
am
would
I
see.
only
You mean like he
watching
would watch it?
once?
Yeah.
Or am I watching it multiple times, but I'm only seeing
let's
two
say
movies
you
that
watched
year?
it once, but then you had no other like media
Stimulus.
that you were taking in to like sully your memory of it.
That's called fasting.
Mental fasting.
I'm
It's not a world that we exist in. I'm asking a hypothetical.
no, I understand, and I don't feel that I can answer that
Yeah.
in terms of because
My only argument to that is that I am of the every movie should be you should always have to watch a movie once or twice to understand it fully,
Wow.
because there's the time you feel it the first time you're feeling the story, and you understand it at a fundamental level what's going on, the ABC, it hits all the notes, but the second time you're watching it you've removed some of your emotional clouding
Bias.
in a sense.
Yeah.
It's not such a cacophony of emotion and thinking all
Yeah,
at the same
and-
time.
and-
You already know what's going to happen. You already know the ups and downs and that kind of stuff. And now
I
you're
agree with that.
dissecting it with your mind.
I do agree with that. This was a story of what's going on. Like it was like for me, first
talking
time
about
through, I
purely
was like,
just
I didn't understand what
That's
just
what I
happened.
needed to hear.
Like that, I'm like-
I misunderstood.
Yes, I totally agree. Like every movie should be watched multiple times. Like going to a theater, you're just experiencing it. Next time you're analyzing it and criticizing it or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
This was the credits rolled and I went, what the fuck just happened?
Gotcha.
Some things I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I get that. But
Yeah.
sometimes I was like, why does this mean anything? So it's
Well, I'll put it this way: like I did a
it
lot
doesn't.
of
Here's the thing. I did still enjoy it.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
did
yeah.
enjoy
No,
it, but I was
that's-
like,
I did a lot of research,
Yeah.
and I still don't know why they cheered when
She got it
when
right.
she got it. Well,
When she
that-
said all the pigs
when
are
she
not.
said it's not there. Yeah. What did that?
Because they
mean?
liked her.
Yeah.
Huh?
They liked
liked
her
her.
at that point.
'Cause
They-
she-
their
but,
idea
weren't
was
weren't her parents pigs though?
yeah.
So why?
Because they wanted her to be free.
Yeah.
Oh, like
They
they.
wanted her to get it
also-
They
right.
were all
correctly.
cheering on her.
They
And then,
also
like, I didn't
wanted
pick up
you,
on
Baba,
the-
to be wrong.
Yeah.
And also, I didn't like pick up on why she knew that.
Who knew
Because she.
Why she knew who her parents were in that.
Well, because in the
Pen.
scene before, when they first go there, Haku says, take them in, examine them, remember them, because it's going to be up to you to determine which ones they are.
when you have to just
Yeah.
when we get you out of
And
here.
only
I
someone.
didn't pick up on what she.
What
like
was it?
if it had a weird tooth or something, you know what I mean?
No,
Like,
I don't think
I didn't
there
pick up
is.
on the-
There's nothing
I mean-
that. So like, if for instance, I have 3 golden retrievers. They're all golden retrievers, right? To someone who doesn't know what golden retrievers look like, they may all look the same.
Mm-hmm.
But me personally, and you, the audience, are not supposed to know that her parents look different because they're not your parents. They're not
Yeah.
your parents, not my parents.
Mm-hmm.
There's something special to her, and I don't think he shows you that on purpose because you are not supposed to be able to tell. So in that moment, you
'Cause it's
know,
about her.
right? So like,
Yeah.
I'd be able to tell you each one of these golden retrievers and what their personalities are and what's special about them and what they look like and why they walk certain ways because I know them on a personal level deeper
Ned,
than
Terry,
anyone.
and Bill.
Right. Exactly. Ned, Terry, and Bill. Ned has separation anxiety and he chews a little bit and he's got some sores around his mouth. You probably didn't notice that. He has a limp because he has arthritis, you know, that kind of thing. So in that sense, I think that's why they didn't show you that.
well, I
Well,
will
Does
shouldn't
that
we
make
be?
sense?
Shouldn't we be in her shoes though, experiencing this journey?
No, most of this time we're not.
I think there's a level that a director should be able to take that a lot of American directors have to give you every answer. and they have to spoon feed it to you. Because a film that I'll talk about is an American film, Sofia Coppola, Lost in Translation. The end of that film, Bill Murray says something to Scarlett Johansson after they've been through 2 hours long of a movie of relationship building, and they don't fall in love. They leave each other, and he says something to her, and we don't get the dialogue for it because we don't need to know it. It's between these two characters. Yeah. We are passengers on this, and we are the fly on the wall. Like, it doesn't have these secrets have to be are sacred, and as an American audience or someone that's engaging, we can't just assume that we're supposed to devour media like the pigs that their parents were. That there's some things that need to be respected of like relationships between certain things.
But do you agree that the whole film set up that we are kind of in with her, like fish out of water kind of story?
He made the film because he wanted an audience of children and families to see something that they don't get. And so, yeah.
It's not like from her eyes. It's. I think you're asking like we're supposed to be in her perspective, so we should be able to discern the same things.
We're
that
like
she
experiencing
discerns.
all this stuff for the first time, just like she is.
Right.
All right.
But it's not like from
we're not
her
playing the
eyes
game.
specifically. Like
we're not playing
not
the game.
controlling her. We're just witnessing these things happening to her. It's separate.
Fly on the wall kind of thing. My argument at a very fundamental level of that is if they did have distinct features, that would remove the tension from that scene completely. If you were like, oh, there's the one with the gold tooth, that's her mom. She's going to choose right. Or there's no one with a gold tooth here.
Like I watched.
Well,
no,
I mean,
like,
there's ways to do
mystery
it.
of it,
I mean, we could talk about it forever, but like, the reverse would be like, okay, well, show me after why she knew that.
Yeah, but I mean, once she's picked right and knows that her parents aren't there, do you feel like you need the explanation of how she knew, or would you just know your parents? Do you know what I mean? I think that's the question she's asking.
I mean, I was, to be honest, when I first watched it, like recently, I was kind of like a little confused at that part.
I mean,
They also kind of set it up though with the hamster or the mouse, I guess.
yeah, with
Because like when Sen comes in and the little hamster is on her and like Yubaba goes, ew, what's that dirty mouse doing in here? Like she couldn't recognize her own child looking at her being like, Mom.
Yeah.
And then when
like-
Haku comes in and says like, don't you notice?
Yeah.
And then you see like the
and
giant.
first thing she looks at is the gold instead. Like they try and set it up for like you think you would notice even though there's nothing discerning about like this mouse that it's your child, but you're the mom. Like you should be able to recognize your own child even if it's been turned into a mouse or a hamster.
And they touch on that too a lot with like the name. With,
Yeah.
like when she loses her name and Haku gives her the note and it's like, I already forgot my name.
Yeah.
The moment that she took it, I already forgot my name. And it's like those kind of things where it's like the things that we find are very small microtransaction-y, like are things that are super important. And like
which is why he tells her that.
the journey
You need
for
to
us to
remember.
reclaim those things are not explicitly told, but they're like shown through a spiritual journey.
I guess I'll just mirror that, like the sentiment that you were saying. I would take it like a step higher.
Yeah.
Of like we're not supposed to like. I would prefer that we would get everything we're supposed to get out of it in the first two viewings or whatever. But like I would amend that and say like everything that would make that feel like a complete experience. And then like if there's more to find later on, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But for me personally, it didn't have enough elements that I could pick up on the first like 2 or 3 times that I've seen it for me to get that like full experience.
Got it.
I mean, definitely, I think, you know, it serves to say like for someone that's never watched anything like this, it's tough, especially if you've been like exposed to like American films and all that stuff. And I would assume this would happen the same way if Japanese people wanted to go watch an American film like Interstellar. They wouldn't understand what we're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like it's those kind of things that are like boundaries that happen based on language
And culture.
and culture.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
cultural barrier.
To be clear, it's not that I didn't like it,
You don't have to keep saying that. We know that.
I picked right.
but I just wanted to
You're about to give your rating, and we'll find out for sure.
Okay.
Corey, your qualms.
None. So
You just said I got skipped. Oh my god!
none.
Wow.
So we can go right to the rating.
Okay.
Right to the rating.
Yeah.
Yay.
So
That
1
was
out of
so
5.
fast.
5.
So I have 2. Ollie has 2.
No, you
I have
have
3.
Yeah, Ollie has 3. You have 2.
Yeah.
So Corey gives a 5 already.
Yeah.
Caitlin.
5 or
4.9.
Ooh. 5.
yeah.
5.
Joshua.
I give this a full 5. Josh, you have 2, so you have to go.
Um,
Be careful.
Yeah, Ollie might body check you.
No, he might be like, you know what? I raised mine up because I heard Josh's number. So we did a Corey.
6.
Yeah.
Oh God, there's so much pressure. Fuck. Okay, 4.
4.
Whoa.
Solid 4.
And
Four?
you know, here's the thing. I'm gonna be perfectly. Because I do want to. Because we talked about this. We write down our numbers.
Was it lower?
And no, it was higher. And here's the thing. When you started going over the synopsis, I was like, oh,
That's what happened.
yeah.
I wasn't watching Fantasmic.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. And then it made me realize, oh,
I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't watch everything I needed to watch.
no, I
mean,
watched
you watched
it.
it, but it's like I didn't.
I didn't
watch
get that.
it.
I was like, because because I am uncultured and I realize that about this particular part of entertainment industry, about anime related and stuff like that, I make sure that I sit down, I watch, and
Get
I'm
your nice little mug.
I'm not fucking doing other things. I'm like, okay, I'm watching
May
this.
I ask what if there are any specifics that stood out? Because I don't know. I don't want you to think that my synopsis.
I can't. I'll be perfectly honest. No.
Okay.
I can't think of specifics, and I'm really sorry.
That's okay.
But there were some things that you like.
Because that could also just been my interpret. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe.
You don't have to be
I don't
really
want to skew
sorry.
your
You're usually
number
kinda sorry.
just because of the way I interpreted the film.
Yeah, no, it wasn't that. It wasn't your interpretation. You were telling me the events, and I was like, and then you were actually mirroring those events, and I was like,
Oh, so there was like a confession confirmation.
yeah, I was like,
Got it. I feel okay about that.
Well, I'm going to say, I said when we were talking about our, the leaps and bounds of information, all that stuff. Like a lot of that information that I have that allows me to digest this came later
research.
on.
Yeah.
But it became, it came as I watched later on more anime and stuff like that. Like there's a lot of differences between what we see now and what we saw then.
I feel like in this moment I'm having kind of a sensitive reaction because I feel like I'm being told that my rating is low because I haven't watched enough anime.
No.
No.
I'm saying like there's literally cultural differences, and there's a reason why like you're like I see it this way, and when I saw it, like I didn't get the full narrative.
Yeah, and I'll put it this way. So my rating is 4.1.
Oh. I fucking knew it.
And
I knew you were gonna do
here's
that.
why. No, this is why it's good. This is why it's a good film. It's 0.1. It doesn't matter.
The points don't matter. They kind of, but they don't. But they do.
They don't. And it's because of what I said before, which is like for us, for me, a
Poor Vu.
garbage Westerner. It doesn't.
Wow.
Garbage.
Wow.
Trash panda.
Carl's
Yeah.
Jr. motherfucker.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Cowboy Yankee.
Guilo. Round eye.
It doesn't it's not to me, it's not a universal movie in that sense. Like it
Yeah.
just can't
That's
be.
accurate.
But that's because of influence and it's
Can I impart this knowledge that like I think hopefully will put everything to rest? When I was in film school and we were studying Akira Kurosawa, Japanese filmmaker, he said, we're going to watch this film, but you will not understand it. You will read the subtitles, you will understand the story, but you will not understand the film. Because what the filmmaker is trying to do is something that an American will never understand. And that's an okay
Interesting.
thing.
Okay.
Because there's things in words,
Cultural and-
in culture, in
And- yeah.
landmarks that we will never understand. And it's like if we have a shot of like, the Twin Towers, like that doesn't mean anything to like a
Yeah.
person from another country. That
Yeah,
means something.
doesn't mean
to
the
us.
same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I'll say like it doesn't knowing that that's great that they went that direction, and even having done the research and realizing and figuring out like I would say I'm still scratching the surface of the meanings, but all the extra stuff that I did learn still isn't ground shattering in my mind. Like I'm not like moved or changed
A
as
little bit more
person.
mech suits. A little bit more.
Batman.
A little bit more neon
And it
lights.
didn't have Batman. I cannot stress this
Some
enough.
Art Deco style, some diagonal lines.
Where's my red sky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, that was my kind of reasoning of like, okay, I'm sitting down, it's going to be subjective no matter how much we try, because it's related on your experiences, what you know, right?
Yeah.
Going into it and just sitting back and watching this for those 2 hours,
Yeah.
it wasn't like
2 hours and 5 minutes.
Wow.
it wasn't that
I still want to put
cohesive
this out. Like
thing.
4 is still
It's
I know.
masterpiece level.
We are analyzing a 4 and a
yeah.
4.1.
When you get when
I just
you
wanna
get
throw that back out
to
there.
Still fucking good.
Having said that,
Love
Josh,
four.
Really good.
you are the grump of the week.
Yes.
Just want to throw that out there.
I
Hey.
guess
Taking a
I was the
stride.
grump of the
You
week
don't
for
like
Batman
being a
Beyond. So like,
Yeah,
We
Corey and I
really
still
do
don't
need a
talk.
trophy.
Yeah.
I actually
I
only
feel like it
took
is a
off
trophy.
point
Corey and I
one
still don't talk, so it's okay.
because it wasn't long enough.
Okay. Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah.
Like I no, I wanted like the story was so good and he had more to say, I feel like.
yeah.
And
So your
that-
score is like a 2.0
So you're gonna score
out
this
of
film
5
lower because he couldn't.
because it should have been 5 hours and it was only 2.
Yeah.
So you're gonna score this
Wow.
film lower out because of something he couldn't handle.
Honorary grump because
Handle
you're
it, bro.
being difficult.
Fine with me.
I'm gonna guilt you on that one.
I don't care.
I'm
That's
gonna
fine.
guilt you.
I'm A-okay with it.
I need a gush.
Yeah.
I need a gush just about the ending. And I need a gush about God Spirit. Like the whole idea about getting your name back allows you to go back to the real world.
Mhm.
You know, getting your human form or going back to like your regular form, wherever it was. And the fact that like Kohaku can't go back because an apartment complex is built over it. It's like how we've destroyed like spirits of life
Mhm.
with our own manufacturing, like of whatever
That's
we
like
want to make.
all over the movie. Yeah, I picked up on that.
To me, these are the things that's like, hey, this, and again, I hate to like sound like I'm slamming Disney. It's like Disney's like, cool, here's this one concept, a really big concept, but that's it. And then here's these films where it's like, here's this concept, and also here's this what's going on in our normal life, and here's also what we've been doing as growing as like consumers and humans. And it's like, this is what all these things I'm going to start bringing into that allow you to go into a different world, but realize this world also includes an Audi. Like there's that anchor of realism, but then it
Yeah.
allows you to go to the point where it's like, oh, like this place can actually exist, you know?
Yeah.
And the very end, the fact that in the Japanese that she loses her memory and doesn't say anything at all is to me it's much more powerful than anything American animation like Disney has done. Because
Have you seen Frozen?
I'm like 2 seconds away.
Yeah.
you want to know something? This beats Frozen in the worldwide box office.
I don't care.
Okay.
Anyway.
It wins the box office of my heart.
Oh,
And your heart is bankrupt.
What?
But I mean,
Use it or lose it.
Exactly.
you gotta
That's the message of the
use it.
episode.
But shout out to my boy Ian, aka Lovehammer, aka one of our patrons.
Thoriel.
Him and I had actually a long conversation about like how Studio Ghibli like do make their films, and like they are fairy tales in such a way, but they very much wrestle stories that we, as any age group, should be able to identify with. Like, you know, every child, like, we're not in royalty, we're not princesses, we're not princes, we're not saving people and damsels in distress and all that stuff, but we are going to grow up. We are going to move to a new place. We are going to lose our passions for what we used to love. And we are going to question things, and our parents are going to become different things than we see them, and they're not going to understand what we're going through. And these are a lot of the central themes that happen in his stories that allow you to kind of like break the spell of being a disillusioned of like how I think Disney really puts a spell on everybody of like, follow your dreams and everything comes true and you're a prince and someone's going to take you far away land. No, like you're going to go through it yourself. And not a lot of people are going to help you.
Let Tom have his thoughts.
Again,
What?
And even people who are supposed to
Have you
mentor you and
seen
help you like
Frozen?
aren't the nicest people. Like there is like a duality between everything. And that's where this film lives in. And it's like, like in a way, Corey says, like, and sometimes like it makes you want to take a shower. Because
Yeah.
you're like, ooh, that's really tough. It's hard. It's a
Also
big
the
pill to
stink
swallow.
monster, but yeah.
Yeah.
So like and to me, I love feeling that way because it allows me to think instead of be like, it's a happy thing. I'm just going to go listen to it on Spotify.
I agree with that 100%, like 1,000%. I didn't get that all the way with this movie.
That's fine. Watch Kiki's Delivery Service.
Okay.
Next time.
And to be clear,
Dragon. Oh, what?
I'm not entirely convinced that it's a purely cultural thing because I didn't have any one of these problems with Princess Mononoke.
Fair.
Time machine forward to watch that episode.
Yeah. Wow, that was good.
The facial expression that you just made in the jest. Oh, I wish people could have seen that.
I almost felt like we actually had a time machine that you were like talking about. I
Let's
was
do
like,
it.
All right.
All right, let's go.
I feel complete.
I feel complete.
Yeah.
I feel complete.
I'm completing.
Yeah,
And
I know.
hungry.
There it is.
Wow.
I'm currently completing.
I'm about to go
I'm-
scarf down some food
can-
like the parents in the movie.
Yes. Crab legs.
Everybody at home, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here with us. We appreciate you. I know that we say that we at the beginning of this episode, we thanked our patrons, but a big thank you goes out to you for listening, for watching, for going to iTunes, subscribing, reviewing, sharing with friends, family. All that stuff is support.
Adding us.
Yes.
Slipping and sliding them
At me,
DMs.
bro. For
Yeah.
real, though.
Please at me.
Saying stuff, talking to us about things,
Adding us
because
on
we're
Pokemon
just
Go.
nerds
Yeah.
about this stuff. We're just excited about things. We want to share that excitement with you all.
We're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, something like that.
I like Cocoa Puffs.
Love Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being here with us. We really, really appreciate it. If I use my words, really, really.
We really, really
We
appreciate
really,
it.
really appreciate it. If you are new to Nerd On, you can check out our website, nerdon.tv, keeping it easy. That's a lot. That's not very many strokes, keeping it easy, because we are easy. That's where you were going?
Oh, I was like Nerd on TV because it's easy.
Oh, I like that.
No.
We're going to use that.
I'm gonna
Put
update the
that on
website.
My God. Call Michael Brand.
Also, we do have some new stuff coming out. We do have a newsletter that you can join if you go to our website. What was it?
Nerdon.tv.
Yeah, because it's
easy.
Anyway, there's a newsletter. You can sign up there. It's a monthly, so we're not going to inundate your inbox. And we have another podcast. It's called Trope Time.
Wow.
It's hosted by our friends Nikki and Izzy.
Yep.
It is once a month. It is the first Monday of every month, and you can check it out on Apple Podcast or wherever podcasts are heard.
Yeah. Or you can check it out on nerdon.tv because it's easy and it makes Tom queasy.
Love it.
Thank you. I love
It
that.
smells like Shabrizi.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ship it.
All right. Well, on that, as always,
Nerd on.
Ending broadcast.